what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to fourth quarter, where we talk about all the things in sports that you guys want to talk about as well. You can catch us on all the podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, Amazon, everything, everywhere. All right, guys. What's up, Craig? What's going on? Mo, what's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
It's a nice week. Yeah, it snowed. You know what that means?
No.
The football season is dwindling down. it's dwindling down. But which is it's all good. It's all good. But I think I'm gonna get into some spring football this year. Because Craig, you watched it last year, right? Did you watch it, Mo?
Yeah, I watched it.
I got into both last year. Yeah, I got into XFL because definitely when DC team was doing good, I definitely got into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow it this year. I'm gonna follow it because it's spring football, and we got the Olympics this year. We got a lot going on, man. It's gonna be a good year. All right, Mo, we're gonna start off with your top 4 college basketball rankings.
All right, let's go with it. So this week been crazy. So from last Monday to this Monday, I think 11 top 10 teams have lost. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's close to that. It's close to that. And even more ranked teams have lost. It's been crazy. But my top 4 is now. We had a new number 1 AP poll this week. Was UConn. UConn's number 1. So I'm gonna go UConn. I'm gonna go Purdue. I'm gonna go Kansas, and I'm gonna go North Carolina, who moved up to 4th in the new AP poll. Yeah, so I'm gonna go North Carolina. That's my top 4 this week. Yeah.
Craig, so North Carolina's 4?
Yeah.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Well, I don't put no stock into the polls until tournament time, so we'll see what happens then. I mean, it's cool.
Do y'all think you're gonna do you think you're gonna stay
right now? They're
top 4.
I mean, if they keep winning the games, don't take these games for granted. I mean, I'm thinking they're going to be easy until they get to Duke in a couple of weeks. Because really, they don't really have a tough game until that Duke game. Knock on wood.
Okay.
I mean, so they got a game tonight. Louisville's not that good, so they should beat them. And
when's the Duke game?
The 3rd. Maybe the Florida State game. I'm taking that because I forgot Florida State is not bad. Florida State's pretty good.
Florida State's pretty good, though, yeah.
So they got Florida State coming up. That's on the road, so that's going to be a tough one. They beat them before early in the season by 8. So, yeah. Besides that Florida State game, they should win their next. I don't know how many games they got left, like 5. The Florida State game is going to be tough, and then they got Duke at home on the 3rd. Duke is actually playing a lot better. They're 7th in the top 10 now, so
that's gonna be a big game. I'm gonna watch that joint. I might watch the Florida State because my Saturday time is about to be free. It's about time to get in the NBA. And,
when did they start doing Wednesday night
college basketball
this year?
They do. Yeah, they did.
Wasn't playing? Lakers playing Dallas at 8:30 on ABC.
Yeah, they just started that this year.
Yeah, I might have to go and watch that. I don't know, man. We're gonna talk about. Actually, matter of fact, this was a big trade. Speaking of NBA, Pascal Siakam got traded to the Pacers, man.
Yeah. It happened about a couple hours ago. Yeah, I seen that.
That's a big trade.
Yeah, Pacers are already 6 in the they're 6 in the East right now. That's
trying to make a push.
Yeah, with Halliburton, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin, that's definitely a big time move.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it put them in no top
move.
3 in the East, but it definitely makes them a watch out, type of problem.
Do you?
I wouldn't sit there and put them above Boston or Milwaukee right now.
Do you think they'll be better? Do you think they can get past Miami and Cleveland with the Siakam?
Yeah, I think they give him a chance. I think it does, especially how Halliburton is playing and how Turner's playing now.
Okay.
I think they got a shot. And I think they can put some envelope. I wouldn't put them above. I wouldn't say right now. I wouldn't say they'll be like. Yeah, I wouldn't say they'll be like Milwaukee or Boston, but I definitely think they can give. I definitely think that, or Philly. I think they can definitely give Cleveland and Miami a run for their money.
What's your thoughts about it, Craig?
I mean, I really don't. I mean, I guess it's a good trade for Indiana, but I mean, I still think Boston and Milwaukee and Philly are the three best teams. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think this trade is helping. I mean, it's going to be enough to beat any of those teams.
I mean, and then those three teams are like not only the best teams in the East, but some of the best in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough three.
Yeah, the way Embiid's playing, it looks like an MVP again. So,
yeah, I mean, this is going to be some good playoff basketball. I hope I see this Embiid in the playoffs and Tyrese Maxey. I hope the Bucks are healthy and I hope everybody's playing well. I think these playoffs are going to be good. Because as far as right now, the Lakers are struggling. The Suns are struggling. It's weird. But we got to, we'll talk about that another time. But I think it's good for the Pacers. Pascal Siakam's pretty good. It fits their style. Halliburton's there. They might take over Miami and Cleveland maybe. But, yeah, that Philly, Boston – that Boston, Milwaukee, Boston, Bucks, and Sixers, nah. Their teams are very good. Boston looks crazy this year.
Boston, I think they're undefeated at home.
Denver looks good. Minnesota, OKC. This is some good. Dallas is pushing for the playoffs. Clippers are turning around. This is about to be. You still got the Kings. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting in the second half of the NBA season. Got Golden State losing bad. It's crazy.
Just lost. One of the assistant coaches just died. Rest in peace. One of the assistant coaches
I just saw that.
Yeah, he was only 46.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I just saw that. Man. I see why Bob Myers. I see why Bob Myers got
out what he did.
Yeah. Not because of that. I just think that he doesn't want to. I don't think he wants to. I think he's friends with Draymond and Steph and Kerr. So I think Bob Myers probably was like, I don't want to trade none of my friends. I think he, so I think he was like, I'm out. It seems like he's trying his hand at the NFL because I think the Commanders hired him to pick the GM. Him and Rick Spielman.
Yeah, they hired to help in the GM search and the coach search.
And the coach search, yeah, that's them.
The
new owner not playing. They're not playing.
Right. I think that's why everybody says it's pointing to Ben Johnson as far as the coach because of all the ties.
Speaking of that, what do you think about the GM hire, Mo, for the Commanders?
I love you get them from a winning organization who knows how to build from the ground up. John Lynch has done an amazing job with that organization. Building it from the ground up. So I think having somebody from that organization, that's one of the best organizations we could pick from as far as bringing somebody in that's going to build a culture that we need, where it's going to be toughness, it's going to be professionalism, it's going to be people that's going to come in and work. And that's what we need. And I think we have it there, but I think for so long, you got to think over the last 7 years, as far as the leadership, we've had a laid-back mentality. We've had a clown for owner, and then a laid-back mentality as far as coaching, and it's resonating now. And sometimes it can drip so hard into your organization that even dudes who do work hard and go hard, sometimes it can kind of, taint you a little bit, change your mentality a little bit. So I think this is going to bring things back. You're going to see a different attitude amongst players, and I think I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I like it. Not too late. I'm hoping we can keep the people we need to keep. I'm hoping
I think so.
Not too late with Payne and Allen and McLaurin.
Nah, I think we're in a good spot. I think so. They listen. They got Magic talk to them. So I think we're in a good spot. I like the Peters hire. I kept hearing rumblings about it. Him and the Browns executive got second interviews, but they were high on Peters. So once I found that out, I was like, okay, we're probably gonna hire Peters, and we're pretty high on Ben Johnson. I think it's a good job. New owners. He owns the 76ers in basketball. They're doing good. Not to say any expectations. It's just I just like the way it's going. So we got cap space, young players, and the second pick in the draft. So Craig, let me ask you this. We were talking about it off camera. The Carolina's Panthers denied people, I forgot what specific team it was, but they denied an interview to your D coordinator. Do you think he's a head coaching candidate, or do you think they're going to keep him as a defensive coordinator?
I mean, I think he's a candidate. I don't know if he's actually going to be the coach of the team. I'm assuming they want to go offense, which is what they need, especially because the defense is all right. Even with all the injuries that they had. So I would assume they want to go offense. I think offensive-minded head coaches, to me, is the best thing because of how Bryce Young played last year, and I think they need somebody to come in and rectify that offense ASAP, starting with the line, and then obviously working with Bryce Young and getting some receivers around him, some help.
Yeah.
They want to bring Evero back as a defensive coordinator or hire somebody else. I think Evero did a fine job, but I think he did enough so that way he can warrant himself being a coaching candidate, whether it's for the Panthers or somebody else. But if I'm the owner or whatever, I will go offense. But
who's your top candidate? Who's your top three candidates you or do you want to like?
I think I have Ben Johnson, obviously, because he's like the biggest name out there. Or the hottest name, not the biggest name, but the hottest name out there, especially for offense. And the job he's done with the Lions. I like Frank Smith, even though they struggled, I guess, in the playoffs and struggled down the stretch. I like the way that they run their motion and things like that and try to confuse the defense. And then maybe like Slowick, I guess. I mean, maybe he's young, but I don't know.
I saw Brian Callahan. Have you heard that? I saw that today. I was on Beach Report.
They got an interview with him. I think they interviewed him already, or they got an interview coming up. I'm not mad at Callahan's. Okay, I guess. I mean,
is he the Bengals?
Yeah, the Bengals. There's also
a good one. That might be a good hire.
Canales from the Bucks, who did a good job this year, a great job this year with Baker Mayfield. So
yep. That's another good one.
So it's I mean, it's a bunch of guys that never, at least to my knowledge, never had head coaching jobs in the NFL. So I wouldn't be mad at any one of those guys, but not saying they're going to be a big star or a big star coach. You just never know with some of these guys. It could be a really good coach or it could be a really bad coach.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle. So, I mean, they still need to hire a GM, which I don't know. They interviewed a couple guys already. They still got some lined up. I don't even know anything about the GMs. I just want somebody that knows what they're doing, I guess. And
yeah.
So We'll see what happens there, but I would hope that they hired the GM first before they hired the coach. I think they got a few more interviews. They interviewed two guys today, Raheem Morris and Dan Quinn, and yesterday they interviewed Frank Smith, and then they got some other ones coming up.
Where's the GM?
They fired him.
No, well, wait, time out. The GM should be interviewing the coach, right? Am I tripping?
I think they've done some virtual interviews with a lot of these coaches. I don't know what they're doing.
Do you think they're gonna pick the head coach and the head coach gonna pick the GM? Like I like to work with this guy.
No, I hope it's the GM.
You hope it's the other way around.
Get hired first and then hired. That's normally that's to me how it's supposed to go. But
yeah.
I would hope it's that way, but I don't know what they've only interviewed like 2 GMs and they've interviewed like 6 or 7 head coaches or guys for head coach spots. So, I don't know. The owner sucks. So
you said the owner what?
The owner sucks. So
yeah.
I don't know if anybody. This might be the last head coaching job, or I don't know who wants to be with the Panthers with the coach. With the owner the way he is. So it would be like the lowest spot, I think, or one of the lowest in terms of popularity. Not popularity, but like where anybody would want to go out of the 8, now 7 that they got open.
Yeah. Speaking of 7, I was going to go right into that. Gerard Mayo, the Patriots. That was quick though. Like that was pretty quick. Belichick's gone, and then Gerard Mayo is now the head coach. What are your thoughts on the hire?
Oh, I thought the hire was. I like the hire. I think it's really good. They already got somebody that knows the team. He could be a player. I think he's a player's coach because I think he was a former player, obviously, but I think he's young and he knows some of these guys. He's taking over that Belichick type of way. He has that mentality. The only thing about that is that there's my knowledge, there's no really good coach off the Belichick tree. So he has his work cut out for him. He has to prove a lot of people wrong, or the doubters wrong. I guess that's the guys that come from his tree that have been horrible. But I think it's a really good hire. I think he can come in, he can step in right away and kind of make the team the way he wants to have the team. You saw what Ryans did with Houston. He's picking third, so he'll have a choice at a quarterback. He can try to groom and try to get that situation started there, and get his hire as OC and start hiring everybody that he needs to hire before the draft starts, so that way they can get everything in place.
Sit down
to kind of have like a smooth transition and get the ball rolling. So I think I like the hire. I kind of thought that maybe they would go with Mike Vrabel, but I think there was already written in the contract, so that way they didn't have to do any interviews, that he was already going to.
Yeah.
So
like I think Belichick signed off on it.
Yeah. So that was
yeah.
Cool. So you didn't have to go through the whole process, and I think it was like the day that Belichick stepped down or parted ways. I think like that same day or the next day, Mayo was named the coach.
Yeah, it was crazy. I've never seen nothing like it.
It was a bit in 72 hours.
Yeah, it was like really
that was crazy.
So I thought that was cool. So you don't have to worry about doing any type of thing. Now they just need to get a GM because Bill Belichick was the end coach, so they got to figure that out. But I think after they get everything situated with all the coaches that they need to hire and things like that, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I think the hire was good. I like it, and it's some old clips coming up where it's Tom Brady and he's with it's another Patriots player at the time, right? And they're like, what player are you able to talk to Belichick through? And they were like, "Oh, you talk about Mayo Belichick." So he's kind of like, I think he's one of those guys that is like a D'Amico Ryans. Like the coaches notice very early. He's in meetings. He's in coaches meetings. He was in coaches meetings as a player. So the same thing with D'Amico Ryans. I think that's the way to go. I think it's a great hire. It happens super fast. I think to go from, I kind of like that Belichick was okay with it, like the respect. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's it, they parted ways, but that was respect on letting somebody that Belichick was like, if you want to be a this guy has to be your next head coach. I like that. And I think he's a great hire. Like you said, third pick in the draft. Somebody is gonna fall. Somebody always falls. Drake May can fall to them, or that's the way it might look right now. But we don't know. They could trade down, get Michael Penix at the 8th pick. Like, that's up for. I mean, that's when he gets his GM. And they start doing analysis. But he has. I want to see how he builds his coaching staff. But I like the hire. Somebody jokingly said that I was watching First Things First. They said the best head coaches are linebackers and young offensive geniuses. Because Mike Vrabel's a linebacker. D'Amico Ryans is a linebacker. And I think Terrell Mayo, I think they're going to be good because the defense is good. And I'm very interested to see who he hires on the offensive side of the ball. All right, what about you, Mo? What's your thoughts?
So from what I've heard, it was a succession plan in place. Mm-hmm. So they probably didn't want to put it out there because it raised more questions and then all the other stuff. But I heard it was a succession plan in place. So with that, they said the NFL knew. So they don't have to interview nobody else because if you do a succession plan, you got to put it through the NFL so they know, and then you can operate this way.
Yeah, because they didn't interview nobody, right?
No, nobody walked through the door. Nobody interviewed.
Okay.
So it was like automatically they knew kind of was going to be Gerard Mayo, but they didn't want to put it out there, I guess. They was waiting, I guess, to give Bill his respect and, let Bill have his proper respect. Proper time to process things, and once they decided to part ways, they already knew, and he already knew. So, I think that was and I think it's good when you have a legacy like that. It's good to keep it in house unless you just truly want to start over from scratch. But now, with Gerard Mayo staying there, it's going to be interesting. I heard one report they offered for the Bill Belichick sons to stay if they want to. Mm-hmm. They told them you can stay if you want to. Okay. I don't know if he's going to keep. I don't know if Gerard Mayo is going to take over as defense play caller, and then maybe hire a dude in name to be a D coordinator. I don't know if he's going to. It's going to be interesting. Is he going to keep Bill O'Brien? Is he going to keep Bill O'Brien, or is he going to hire a new offense coordinator?
Yeah, you're right.
So and
we don't know what was discussed. Yeah, you're right.
Right. The next big decision is going to be what you're going to do about quarterback.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Are you going to start over? Do you, I don't know if he's.
Mo. They got to start over. They got to in the quarterback position. They have to.
But I wonder, if leading into, I think with them, they've been cheap about money. They've always been cheap about money, but they've always kept it real with the players in house. That's one thing Belichick always did. He kept it real. So I wonder if Mayo's going to have that conversation with Matt Jones to be like, hey, if your agent won, shop around some teams. We are looking at quarterbacks. We're going to keep it real with you.
I think so. I think that's a conversation that they're going to have with Matt Jones. I think you have to have that conversation.
Right, you gotta be real.
You would
listen. So he's not hitting blindside. And I mean, if he's smart, he gotta know too. I hate to say it.
Yeah, come on, man.
He gotta know that with a new coach, 2 back-to-back years he hasn't played well. He gotta know that it's probably gonna be a quarterback look for. Like,
he can't keep.
You know,
he could beat out Bailey Zappi.
But also I'm gonna say this though. Ain't no free agents really looking to jump on New England, and so they're going to build through this draft because even if you bring a rookie in here, I get starting over. Yeah. But what is he throwing to? Who's blocking for him? Because we can blame them.
Their receiver core. Their receiver core.
From an offensive standpoint, that probably was one of the top 3 worst rosters offensively in the whole league. Like we probably say top 3 to 5 worst offensively. It was bad.
It was bad.
So it's like you bringing a quarterback in here to what? Like, what is he being excited about? What is he being excited to throw to? What is he being excited to run? I mean, the running back decent, dude Stevens decent, but who is he being excited to throw the ball to?
Do you think they should like if they got the chance of Marvin Harrison? Do you think if Marvin Harrison falls to them in 3rd, would you say Caleb Williams? I'm gonna ask Craig this. I'm gonna ask you, then I'm gonna ask Craig the same question. Say Caleb Williams is gone and Drake May is gone. No trade happens, right? The 3rd pick with New England, do you draft a quarterback or do you draft Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yo, it's stupid. That is a catch-22. It's gonna be almost like you have to hit on both either way because this is the problem. If you get a quarterback, then people still going to look like Marvin Harrison was there and could have helped your wide receiver core. He'd be a day 1 number 1. But if you draft Marvin Harrison, no quarterback, and then Matt Jones still is bad, everybody can be like,
well, they would draft a quarterback.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 for me. For me, I get it. This pick right here got to be Mayo putting his stamp on things. So I think it's going to be a quarterback. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm still going to feel like, what is your quarterback coming home to? So I don't know what New England's cap space money is. A lot of free agents ain't jumping to go to New England. Are they going to be willing to try to throw money at a receiver or at the offense? Because you got to do something. Mm-hmm. If you bring a quarterback in here, it's like, what are you bringing them in here to? It sounds good to bring a Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix or a Penix in there, but to throw to what? Like to play with what? Like to get blocking for what? Like it sounds good, but it's like, what are you going to do for them?
Craig, let me ask you that. You're New England. 3rd pick. Caleb's gone. Drake May's gone. Do you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or do you draft a quarterback? Or do you trade down?
I'm drafting a quarterback. I'm drafting, I guess, Daniels. I guess he's projected this 3rd quarterback off the board. To me, I don't see a point.
Projected 3rd quarterback.
I don't see a point in taking Marvin Harrison if you don't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't. I mean, who's going to throw him the ball? You could say the other way around. Who are you going to throw the ball to? Mm-hmm. But I think you can probably get somebody. They got the 4th most cap space in the league, so I think you can get enough people to come there, especially with the new coach. I think you can kind of. With him, I think you can probably get players to come there because it's a new regime, and also they got the 3rd overall pick. So if you bring it in, only way I would go after, say, Marvin Harrison would be the free agency starts in like 2 months. Only way I would do that is if I get Kirk Cousins. It's like the best quarterback out there, best free agent quarterback that's out there.
Oh,
so I get Kirk Cousins, then I'll go ahead and draft.
That makes sense.
I don't get Kirk Cousins or get some type of really good veteran quarterback.
Or Russ. Like, what about Russ if he gets available?
Possibly. If you get somebody like that, then cool. I mean, I think you could build around, at least have some hope, and then you could contend with the Dolphins, contend with the Bills, and the Jets, who are going to be better because they're going to get Aaron Rodgers back next year. So, at this point, to me, that's the only way. If you're not getting a veteran good quarterback, then I would just take a rookie quarterback, start the whole clock over again, and then try to trade.
I didn't think about Kirk Cousins. That's a good.
I mean, he's really the only.
Watch out for that.
I guess Russell Wilson. He's the only quarterback out there that's. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
Gino might be out there.
The Patriots said they had interest in Russell. They said they said they had. It was the Patriots, the Steelers,
Russell didn't have a bad
and
quarterback
the Falcons.
this year. Statistically, his numbers were better this year than they have been the last couple of years. But
yes, I agree.
If that, I mean, it depends on what they want to do. It depends on how they handle free agency to me. But I'll be looking at quarterback.
Yeah, I would definitely be looking at the quarterback. But and I heard Robert Kraft's sons are making a lot of they got some influence on the decision.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or the Patriots could end up with Drake May. You know what I'm saying? The Bears could trade the Commanders. They could swap picks. The Commanders draft Caleb. The Bears could draft. This is if they keep Justin Fields. They get Marvin Harrison. And then the Drake May falls to the Patriots. I think the third pick is a good pick. It's a good pick, man. It's a good pick. And say you like Bo Nix or something. You could trade with somebody and still be get a top 10 pick. You could trade down to get a top. You could trade down and get like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix in the 10th. You know what I'm saying? And have draft capital to build your team. Yeah, it's a lot of things that can happen, but you're right. I think they should go quarterback. Whether it's trading down or drafting it with the third pick. But I think the three, and they said it's crazy because it's probably was 2020 3 first-round pick, 3 quarterbacks in a row. Wasn't that 2020 when it was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Yep. It might be like that again. It might be May or Williams and Daniels. It might fall just like that. You know? But a lot of people said this is a deep draft, though.
They're the wide receiver wise. They say you can trade back.
Wide receiver.
It's tackle.
Kansas City probably gonna get another. Kansas City probably gonna get another good receiver because
you might not see. I was talking. I think I listened to. I think I was listening to the first mock draft with Phil Yates and
Mel Kiper.
And we might not see a defense play until mid-teens.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's a deep offensive draft with receivers, the tackles, the quarterbacks. You might not see a defense player taken for a minute. You know.
Yeah, it's gonna be offensive load. It's gonna be offensive heavy, which means you could get in the bottom of the second round. Those playoff teams should be able to find a gem.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They should be able to find a gem. But all right, Mo, let me ask you this. The Texans beat the Browns like they stole some. Mo, let me ask you this, because this is the second time the Browns made the playoffs under Stefanski.
Yeah.
How much pressure does this put on Deshaun Watson to show up next year?
A lot. A lot. And I'm gonna say this because of it wasn't like they minimized the offense or changed the offense for Flacco. It was the same Stefanski offense, and they still had minimal plays. They still didn't have Chubb. They still didn't have. I think they would shoot. I think they said something once. One of the tackles got hurt in that game. They were down to like their 4th and 5th option at tackle. Like it was just crazy. Like so, if they can get everybody back healthy next year, and you won 11 games with all the injuries they had, I think a lot of pressure is going to be on Deshaun because of the money he was given, despite his stuff, despite they gave him money, they trusted him, and we're talking about 11-win team, and we gotta look at it here. Bengals ended up with 9 wins and didn't have Burrow for half the season, so that whole division is not going anywhere. Pittsburgh is not like Pittsburgh's a bad roster. Like I was listening to Swag Guru.
They're quarterback away too.
Like
Their
Pittsburgh needs
quarterback away.
one or two things, one or two little holes.
We go
They're
get that
switches away.
credit.
Like Kenny Pickett gotta go, but I mean, they one or two pieces away from being they made the playoffs with that roster. So if you
They
add
did.
a draft, free agent, so. Yeah, I think a lot of pressure is going to be on him next year. Like, I think we got to put him. I almost say we got to put him in the top 3 or 5 most pressure quarterbacks next year because of what Cleveland just did. And I'm saying that because of what Cleveland just did.
Craig, we just seen Houston whip up on the Browns. Now, Deshaun Watson was injured, but how much pressure does this put on Deshaun Watson to show up next year?
I mean, it's a lot of. It's already pressure on him, but it's just because of everything that happened and the trade and all that stuff in his contract. But I agree with Mo that it's a lot of pressure on Deshaun Beast just because of. To me, it's a couple things. It's one because of what Joe Flacco did and his numbers that he was able to put up and still able to run that offense, command that offense. Even though he had a lot of picks, he was before the playoffs. He had 13 touchdowns in like 5 games or something, 5-6 games. So he was lighting the team. He was lighting it up. And a couple games, or at least one game, I know of, he did it without Amari Cooper, and he had more touchdowns by himself than 4 starting quarterbacks for the Browns combined. So, like right there, to me, says enough to the point where like this guy just came off the street basically. And just played quarterback.
That was crazy.
Into the lineup and just throwing 13 touchdowns in 5 games or whatever. So, I mean, Deshaun, he had like 6 or 7. So there's pressure on that just from that. And then like what Mo said with the whole Cincinnati thing, how they won 9 games. Pittsburgh, how they won 10 games, and both of them had backup quarterbacks. The Steelers had quarterbacks going in and out, and then they ended off with Mason Rudolph, which is crazy. The Bengals had Browning, I think, as their quarterback.
Yep, Jake Browning. Yep.
So, I mean, I give it to Cleveland. They did win 11 games, but I mean, it's just I don't even know I don't even think if Deshaun is in for the whole season, could he have done what Joe Flacco did and possibly get their team to the playoffs. I don't know. I think he's talented wise. He's good enough to get that team to the playoffs and maybe get them to 11 wins or 10 wins. But the way he was playing and the way he's been playing since the whole scandal and everything like that, I'm just not confident in. And I thought this year was going to be a comeback year for him. I thought he was going to be in a discussion for, I don't know if comeback player of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
Possibly. I guess, but I thought he just would be in a different conversation, and I thought he would live up to that, to basically live up to his contract. But he hasn't lived up to his contract. He hasn't lived up to the hype that's been around him since he came to Cleveland. And Cleveland, they're a good team. They had the best defense in the league, and they got 40+ points lit up on them. So, they got to figure some things out. I know they didn't have Chubb, but they didn't have Chubb for a lot of the season. So that shouldn't have. That really, to me, didn't make a difference. I think they need another receiver because I don't know what they did with the dude who was at the Jets, Moore. He just, Njoku showed up for later part of the season. Cooper had a decent season, but they got to figure some things out, and it starts with Deshaun. So I think the coach is going to be on the hot seat. I think next year, at least starting out already. And I think Deshaun is on the hot seat or whatever type of seat you want to put him on because of what he did with Houston and his contract situation and then other quarterbacks and other teams in general and how they finished the season, how they played this year with backups and what Flacco did. So
what Flacco did was legendary, but I agree with both y'all. That's got to be a statement to Deshaun's play. Because it's like, you're right, Craig. I don't know if they go to the playoffs with Deshaun Watson playing quarterback. But like this, Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. Bottom line. So I don't. Deshaun Watson has not lived up his contract. He hasn't lived up to it, and I don't know. I don't know what else to say because Joe Flacco was chilling at home and he balled out. Joe Flacco's a good vet. Good vet. Joe Flacco's a great. He's one of the example of, like me and Mo were talking earlier about what a good backup quarterback. That's Joe Flacco. You want him on your roster because he's just going to be a professional. He's going to know the playbook, and he's going to teach. He's going to teach the rook. It's good that rookie has a good veteran presence. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know about Deshaun, man. I liked him, and then he did some crazy stuff, and it's gonna be interesting because he's got like I think 3 more years on the contract. I wonder, and then do you wonder if Cleveland, if they have a down year next year, you wonder if Cleveland just draft a quarterback and move on.
I
I don't know. They're in a bad spot.
I don't know what they do
because he got all guaranteed money. So if he has a down year in 2024, right, Craig? Right, say they don't make the playoffs. His cap hit for 2025 and 2026, it'll be $136 million. They're going to have to pay out guaranteed money. That's a lot of money.
I mean, they took a gamble on his talents, and it just hasn't worked out so far for them.
Nah, so we're gonna see because they have a good team. They have a good team. They've had the most injuries in the NFL, and they were 11-5. You have a good team, so there's no excuse for Deshaun. None. There's none whatsoever. But they're tied up. He's tied up. He's tied up, man, for another 3 years. Because that's a lot of money. But anyway, after the Dolphins lost to the Chiefs. And I like the Dolphins. They've had a wonderful year. I'm not going to lie. I like them on Hard Knocks. And I like Mike McDaniel. I like Christian Watkins. I like Jalen Ramsey. I like Tua. It was a good vibe. It was good, This question is coming up, and it's reports that they are, but they haven't yet. Do they re-sign Tua to a long-term deal? I think they kind of have to at least sign him to like a 3-year deal. It's hard to find a quarterback. I think you just try to build around him and try to get home field. You're like 2 wins away from having a home field advantage. Because if Miami plays at home, they're good. But the way that the quarterback is with the AFC, I think you do sign to it. I think they're in a bad position. When he's healthy, he won 11 games. He didn't win the playoff start. That was his first playoff start, and no excuses for him. That was the 4th coldest game in NFL history. So I would resign Tua. I like Tua, but Tua they gotta show up next year. But I think they will. Mo, do you resign to you the Dolphins? You resign to
Yeah,
to a long-term deal?
I do. I mean, what else is out there? Like, I get everybody want to say free agency or everybody want to say something else, but like, people gotta understand what else is out there unless you're gonna spend more money or whatever, or you're gonna downgrade or whatever. So it's like Tua's done well, but I also will say he's in that top 5 to 6 range about pressure quarterbacks, and now Mike McDaniel's in that pressure point now. You've been there now, but like you don't get, and I don't know if I said this to y'all or you don't get a player like Tyreek Hill for just making the playoffs. Tyreek Hill is not a just making the playoffs type of player. You get him for playoff wins and championships. So right now it has not proven to be. They're 0-2 in the playoffs. They haven't won a playoff game yet. So I think next year he got to win a playoff game, or he's gonna be on the hot seat. I mean, because it wasn't like, and I think I don't want to say it's nowhere near Marvin Lewis, but I think he's getting a pass right now because it was a mess with Flores and all that stuff, and not believing Tua and the organization's distress. I think it was kind of at least enough of a mess where you kind of gave him a slight pass in the beginning, but now that pass is over. Like, I feel like it wasn't that much of a mess where you've made it now. Like, what are we going to do with it? Mm-hmm. And that's why I will get to this in a minute. But I honestly think this might be the biggest game of what's in his career, man.
Who?
Quarterback for the Bills. This might be the biggest game of his career.
Oh, Josh Allen?
Yeah, this might be the biggest game of his career. You got to win this one. You got to do it. Legacy-wise now. Now we get legacy time now. You got to do it. That's my opinion, but we're gonna get there in a minute. We'll get there in a minute.
Craig, you were shaking your head, right? Do you sign to it?
I was saying Mike McCarthy coming back as the coach again.
Oh, come on. You gotta that's breaking news.
Yeah, I heard that one.
We'll get to the Cowboys later. They done got all of us. They done fooled all of us.
Yeah.
I told a Cowboys fan I'm never picking them again.
But Jerry been loyal though. He did the same thing with
he loyal. He loyal. Dang, okay. That's one of my top scores. Anyway, Craig, that's crazy, Craig. We'll talk about that. All right, do you sign Tua to a long-term deal?
Maybe not a long-term deal. But then again, if you do a long-term deal, you're gonna save yourself some money. So I definitely would sign him. There's really, like Mo said, there's no quarterback out there except for Kirk Cousins, maybe Russell Wilson if he gets released, Geno if he gets released, and
it's slim. It's slim.
And then that's pretty much it. And Ryan Tannehill's contract was high. For his production anyway, except for that 1 year he had. But I think unless you get Kirk Cousins, which he's 33, I think, or he's up there in age, getting up there. But
I'll tell you in a minute.
I think he's 33. But I probably would still stick with Tua. I think Tua has a good rapport with his receivers. I think if they had a healthier team, I don't think they beat the Chiefs because it was just the weather is just out of control. So I don't think they're built for the weather. I think they need to do a lot better job in the regular season trying to make sure that they get home field, because their home field advantage playing in 70-degree weather versus playing in negative 10-degree weather would be different day. I mean, there's a lot more Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City, Buffalo, so many more that have an advantage in cold weather versus you having an advantage, especially how good they were, especially early in the season, and they had an opportunity to go up to Baltimore and win that game. And if they win that game, they take advantage or they take control of the number 1 seed at that point. They just blew it. I mean, they had opportunity after opportunity. I know Waddle was hurt that last game of the season. I think Mostert was hurt the last game of the season as well.
Yeah.
And they ended up giving up that kick or that punt return for the touchdown. I think it was a punt return.
It was a punt return.
Yeah, so I mean, it has some other things going on, but I mean, the defense played pretty well. Their offense kind of for the best offense in the NFL, you had the best defense in the NFL give up 40+ points, and then you had the best offense in the NFL score 7. So it's that team is. I mean, I think they're better than what they are, what they play like. It's just, I mean, it's hard to play. I know, and the crazy thing is that last year they went to Buffalo and they lost by 3 with Skylar Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
That was a close game. That's why I thought they might win. That's why I picked them to win, because I thought, okay, Tua has this team. The offense is really good. I know they've been struggling, but at least they're getting Waddle back, they're getting Mostert back, and I thought they would be able to. And then on the flip side, how Kansas City wide receivers have been dropping the passes, and offense hasn't been clicking like it has been in years, and it's just I just thought Miami had a chance to win this game, even in the cold, but. Oh my God, I don't know, man. They got to figure some things out, but I would definitely sign Tua because they need to have that quarterback there, and there's nobody else out there, and they're not in a position. I guess they could draft a quarterback, but I think Tua's their best side, and plus he proved this year that he can stay healthy.
That was big.
Mark coming into this season, could he stay healthy with his concussions? And he did that, and he almost had Tyreek Hill getting 2,000 yards, so.
Tyreek puts up numbers with him. He puts up numbers with him. Yeah, but I agree with that.
They had a great season. They just gotta try to shoot harder for
that whole field. Yeah. You know, I was listening to Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd, and Colin Cowherd was like, you know what? He said this is a real thing, right? Philly's probably cold weather, but he was like, San Francisco's warm, Dallas plays in the dome, Detroit plays in the dome. You know what I'm saying? He's like Tampa. And Green Bay is a little cold, but like San Francisco, I think it's going to be 62 when they play. You know what I'm saying? So I think the NFC probably is a little bit more warmer teams, and you know. I think that the AFC, you're going to be playing in cold weather. You're going to be in Buffalo. You're going to be in Kansas City. You're going to be in Baltimore. You're going to be in Cincinnati. It's just cold weather teams. Or if the Patriots are good, or Denver, those places are cold too. But like Baltimore's cold, Kansas City's cold, and Buffalo's cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, anyway, Craig, the Cowboys fooled us again, but this question has already been answered because Craig just broke the news. So, Craig, what are your thoughts on bringing Mike McCarthy back?
I mean, I'm fine with it because it just means that they're just not going to win. So I don't really. I don't think that coach is. I mean, he's a good coach. I ain't gonna sit there and say he's a bad coach because he's got to be good to get this team 12 wins in a row, three years straight, or 12 wins in a row, 3 years straight. So he's got to be doing something right. It's just that when he gets to the playoffs, the team just self-destructs, and I personally, I probably wouldn't have brought him back just because I think you needed a change for that team. I know Dak was politicking for him to come back. A couple other players were too, but I think they needed a change in the system. I think Dan Quinn's not going to be there. I would assume the defense that he called was cool. It was just it seemed like he's the head coach. So he still has some issues with like clock management throughout the season at certain points in time. I think that the Cowboys were up there in penalties again this year. I think they might have led the league in penalties again this year. Dak Prescott, for what it's worth, he had a great season. Just when they came to trying to beat some of these teams that they needed to beat later in the season after their easy schedule was up, they couldn't do it for the most part. I mean, I think the team that they beat Philly and they beat Seattle, but Seattle didn't even make the playoffs. And Philly was, I mean, if you look at Philly then versus now, I mean, it's just two different teams. So, I mean, that win over Philly just wasn't at the time it was great, but looking back on it, I mean, I don't think so.
They were second, Craig.
Second in penalties. So I'm saying that they're up there again.
Yep.
The Mike McCarthy thing is just like, I get it. It's a whole season and not just one game, but unfortunately, this one game was your playoff game, and the Packers have more wins in AT&T Stadium than the Cowboys do.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, Dak had, the two picks. The first one was crazy, but the second one was definitely, it was a pick six. He threw it right to him. So I don't know, man. I'm cool with the hire just because I don't think the Cowboys are going to win with Mike McCarthy. But at the same time, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I would try to. I mean, you're probably going to sit there and say, who else is out there? But I think you could have got at least interviewed some of these other guys, Bill Belichick, to see what is. If he was going to take the stance on not having full control or being able to work with Jerry Jones. I know they both like two alphas, I guess. But maybe Harbaugh or somebody else. He's just too loyal. And Jerry Jones is just too loyal to a guy that's not going to get this team over the hump, I don't think. And he's just not going to be able to get enough out of this team. Cowboys going to be talented again next year. And I think the same thing is going to happen again. It's just only a matter of time. Like Stephen A. Smith says, what can go wrong will go wrong. You just got to be patient. And they're going to let somebody down. They're not going to let me down. I'm going to be happy.
Yep, I'm going to be happy.
But that was my birthday was on Sunday, and it was a great birthday present to see him get beat like that. But
yeah, man. Happy
belated birthday, man.
Appreciate it. I didn't expect the Cowboys. I thought, I wasn't shocked that they lost. I wasn't shocked that anybody lost. I was shocked in how they lost and being down by 32. I think if you're down by that many points and it's a playoff game and this is like your best chance to win since, for a lot of people saying this is the best chance to win in years, and that's the effort that you put out there, I think it's time to clean house with the coaching staff and just start over.
Mo, you like the subject a lot. Mike McCarthy is coming back to the Cowboys for one more year, Mo. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm shocked. Only because it's just two out of the last 3 years, and then two of the last 3 years you've been eliminated at home, one and done. One and done. You had San Fran the first year. Then they beat Tampa, but then went to the second round, went to San Fran, lost. Then this year you're at home again and you get totally destroyed. You get totally just boat race. Like you look unprepared, uninspired. Like Green Bay just went out there and just ran coaching circles around you. It was just embarrassing. So for me, what change is about to be made because he was running the offense. So I don't see if you can't. And I heard Dan Orlovsky say this, and I totally agree with him. If you're going to stay packed without major moves being made, if you're going to keep Mike McCarthy here, and some people might disagree with this, I don't want to hear Jerry Jones come out and talk about Super Bowl. Dan Orlovsky said,
he's going to. He's going to. You can't stop him from doing it.
It's almost like you want to look at him like, bruh. Like, really? Like, what are we talking about?
They're all gonna do it. They're all gonna do it.
Like, is this really what we're gonna do here? Because you've seen the writing on the wall. Like, some move got to be made. If McCarthy's gonna be here, I hate to say this, if McCarthy's gonna stay, you gotta fire Dan Quinn. But somebody gotta take the heat for this. Like, it's been multiple years it's happened. And like, for you to get embarrassed like that at home, somebody gotta take the heat. Because now with McCarthy saying, who's taking the heat for this? McCarthy's
I think Quinn gonna leave on his own.
All right, well, I
think somebody's gonna hire Quinn as a head coach.
Because let's be honest here, Dak's gonna get an extension.
Yeah, he's gonna get extension.
Dak gonna get extended. He's staying in Dallas. So what other major move? They're not gonna cut nobody major. Like, I get it. You're gonna get Diggs back. You need a workhorse. I'm gonna throw this out here. If I'm Dallas, I'm gonna try to go get Derrick Henry. If you really try to go for broke, I would go Derrick Henry to go with. That way, you don't wear Derrick Henry out, but also Tony Pollard not a number one back. So you can 1-2 punch it better now and then you gotta go get you a true number 2 receiver. Either that or that guy believe in somebody else, because Dak forced the ball too much to CeeDee Lamb in that playoff game. And I don't know, because he don't believe in Gallup and Cooks, or they're not number 2 receivers. But some guy give. You gotta get a number 2. We know CeeDee gonna get his, but you gotta have a number 2 receiver. You gotta get somebody else that's gonna get open, or that Dak is gonna trust to get open. You got tight ends. You got quality tight ends. Jake Ferguson and Hendershot. Jake Ferguson dominated in that playoff game. He was the bright spot outside of, the couple times he tried to get the CD. But who's the number 2 receiver outside of CD? You got to go get a linebacker, because when Parsons is sitting there at the DN spot, you got no physical linebackers in there. That one thump. You got no linebackers that really want none of that smoke. And Green Bay exposed that to a degree. So and I don't know if it's because Dallas thought that they ain't had no linebackers, that they kept going 6 DBs and kept going nickel coverage.
That was crazy. I don't know what
they made no adjustments. I don't know if it's because they felt like they had
what was going on with that. They were. I don't know what they were doing.
I think they said it's like they played 6 DBs for like 50% of the game or something like that. Crazy.
I don't know. That's
more than that.
Crazy.
It was 48 out of 54 snaps.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Aaron Jones is out there eating.
Yeah, gassing. They didn't have Dillard running. They didn't let Dillard run the ball. They just gave it to Jones. Jones was out. Wasn't Jones out for like 6 games?
Yes. Yeah. But he's been playing good. Yeah, so Jones was hurt, and then I think AJ Dillon is hurt. But Jones has been balling the past 4 weeks, though. He's been over 100 yards.
It was good to see Alexander get over that dumbness he did, get back in the game and get a pick.
Yeah. He's a good corner.
Yeah, it was wild. He just made a dumb mistake. It was
yeah. That's why he's not a captain.
But listen. I mean, Jerry's still gonna say Super Bowl. But I just don't. I just can't honor it no more when you make this type of decision. Because now the only other major move you can make is to get rid of Dan Quinn. And if Dan Quinn feel like he gonna go on, if I'm Dan Quinn, I'm gonna go take a D coordinator job somewhere else, or I'm gonna take a head coaching job. I don't know if Seattle's still gonna beat on his door. I don't know. We gotta wait for the dominoes to fall. I don't know how it's gonna go.
So right now, Dan Quinn is we sent out an interview for him. I think Seattle did, Tennessee did. Yep, Seattle. And the Chargers interviewed him.
Carolina did.
And Carolina did. Yeah, he's probably gonna he might get a head coaching job. I can see Dan Quinn, Carolina. And no, of course Atlanta's not gonna interview him. But yeah, I mean I think Dan Quinn is gonna get a head coaching job. But I'm not surprised. This is how Jerry is. Jerry's loyal. Players like that. Once you're in Dallas, he takes care of you. He looks out a lot for his players. Now, I'm not gonna lie. It's on coaching, and here's Mike McCarthy's not a bad coach. It's crazy. He can't get over the hump. But he's won a Super Bowl before, so it's weird that he lost in the first round of the playoffs because he had a Super Bowl with Green Bay, and he won 12-5 3 years in a row. That's crazy. This is the third year they went 12-5. They were the number 2 seed, Greg. The number 2 seed. They've been demolishing teams at home all year long, and the Packers come there and hit them in the mouth. Did anything they want. Jordan Love passing deep passes. Aaron Jones is running how he wants to run. Dak throwing pick sixes. Like, what? Dallas was the least supposed to get to the NFC Championship game. At least. Their whole build.
This is their
That's
best pass for the
crazy.
last 20-something years. Everybody was saying this is bad for them.
The best path. All of us picked them to go Super Bowl. I was like, yeah, we weren't the only ones. A lot of people, they got the talent.
Well,
So for them to come out like that is crazy.
I know the first round like that. You gave us extra home playoff game. Yes.
Yep. But I'm glad they're going to keep him because we're going to get a good coach to come to the Commanders. So we're going to be good anyway. And yeah. Oh, Mo, I was saying Dan Quinn's probably going to get a head coaching job. You know, and I do like the idea of Belichick going to Dallas. If they would have, because let me tell you this, and this is a real thing. If Belichick ain't run the nickel no 48 out of 52 times against a first year starter quarterback that's made the playoffs. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I'm saying would he stay? And
Belichick will have Michael Parsons on a different level. I'm just saying Belichick would have been better. If Belichick was the head coach, I don't know if the Packers go off like that offensively.
Oh no.
I'm just saying Belichick wants to coach 3 years. They're gonna extend that. I think he fits there, but Jerry's loyal. He's honoring contracts. So there's nothing wrong with that. But like Craig said, like Belichick's out there, and Jerry and his son know how to pick players. Dallas is a good roster. I can't get mad at it. They got a good roster. That's why it's so defeating because they got two good quality coaches, but they couldn't beat the Packers. They got out-coached. They looked like they weren't trying to play. It was weird. It was weird. Okay. So this is the thing. We got to talk about this. Now, Buffalo Bills did beat the Steelers. I thought it was a game, no lie. When it was 24-17, the Steelers just scored. I was okay. Then I turned around and I'm like, wait a minute. What? Whoa. The Bills up 31-17 that quick. It was just 17-24. The Steelers just scored. I was like, okay. And then yeah. Obviously, Mike Tomlin walked off when asked about his contract because it's only a year left on the contract. The reporter asked him after the game about his contract with the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin walked off without answering the question. So I'm going to ask Mo this. Do you think Tomlin steps away?
They reported earlier today he coming back.
Okay. He coming back?
Yeah, it got reported earlier today that he will return for 2024. So and when he did that though, when I seen it, the way he just walked off, like he didn't even let them finish the whole sentence. Like
it was crazy.
He turned around and just walked off. I didn't think so, but Mike Tomlin being who Mike Tomlin is, emotions were high at that point. Yeah, I think for getting a team like that where he got him to, and then you asked me that question, the first thing coming out your mouth, I think he was probably frustrated. So I think I understand how it can provide a lens to like start ask questions like for him to walk off like that, what's going on? But I think he loves what he does. He loves what he does. He loves the players. He saw some of the right now, some key things are going to be brought up. Like what is he going to do about O coordinator? You change the coordinator, but you going to keep that coordinator system. Next year, what are you going to do with quarterback? Or you going to try to trade for one? Or you want to, you're going to draft one? But I think I don't see them drafting one with 1 year left on his contract. Mike Tomlin wants to win, and I think he sees that division. I don't see them drafting a quarterback unless the only way I see him allowing them to draft quarterback is if he's going to get extended. If he's on like a 1 year, let me see where the chips fall where it may type thing, they're going to trade for a quarterback, or they're going to put either all they had in on Kirk Cousins, or they're going to trade for a quarterback. I don't see them drafting a quarterback, but I would say right now, 10% chance that what's his name is their quarterback next year, Kenny Pickett. It's about 10% chance. at best.
They were talking about they had interest in Russell Wilson. That's what that's what I heard. So Craig, since Mike Tomlin is coming back, how do you think he improves the roster next year?
Excuse me. Quarterback definitely. I think they need a veteran quarterback in there. Like I said earlier today, like same quarterbacks is only two really good, not good, but I guess two good ones, borderline really good. I guess Kirk Cousins and maybe Russell Wilson. So I would definitely start there, especially if he's doing like a 1 year thing or whatever, he's not going to try to stay there long term. Then I'm with Mo. I wouldn't try to draft a quarterback at this point because if you're not going to be there, the next coach coming in might not want that quarterback. So you're going to put him in a bad spot or whatever. You're going to so you can set the franchise back even further. Who knows? But I would definitely go with a veteran quarterback. I think they they need to figure out some things with that offensive line. I mean, the wide receivers. I don't. I mean, they have talented wide receivers. It's just like we saw Johnson give up on plays a couple of times. I think throughout the season, or at least one time in particular, where he just gave up on a play and didn't want to make the block or whatever. Just stop.
Pickens too.
Yeah, so you got some character issues there, or some type of issues there with those wide receivers who need to just try to go all out, and this is a playoff team, so like you got to try to figure some things out there. I thought in this game, I thought they had their chances, and I didn't think they were going to win the game, but looking at the game, they had their opportunities. They had the fumble early, they had the interception in the red zone. They cut it down to 7 at one point, and they were right in the game. But it's just, this was with Mason Rudolph, not with a veteran, or I guess he's a veteran, but like a good quarterback or a guy like the guy you drafted, Kenny Pickett or whatever, Mr. Dixon. But you have some things to build on there because this team, despite the fact that they got beat in the playoffs, they did make the playoffs. So there's stuff to build on there. The division is only going to get arguably the best division in football, and then the toughest division in football. And the Bengals are going to be back. The Browns, they're getting their players back, and the whole Deshaun thing is a question mark. But you got to try to figure something out at quarterback because you got the worst quarterback in the division right now, regardless of who the starter is. So it starts there. They have some good running backs that they can build on. I like Warren and I like Harris. The defense is always going to be good. It was unfortunate that Watt didn't play in that game on Monday. So
I think he would have made a big difference.
I think he definitely would have made a difference. I don't think they would have
won, but I think it would have been probably closer.
I think they would have been getting to the quarterback a little bit more, put a little bit more pressure on him. But I would try to get one of these veteran quarterbacks out there and try to go from there. And then try to get some pieces around that guy, whoever that's going to be. So the defense has really been the question. It's always their kind of the offense lately.
So what I've been hearing is that I just read an article that Kirk Cousins said that he wants to go to a team that wins. It's like because he's 35. So, yeah. So I think I don't see Kirk Cousins doing the whole Tom Brady 45 thing. I think he's going to play 3 to 4 more years, and I think he's going to be like, I'm 39, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he will fit good in Pittsburgh. He will fit good. If they had Kirk Cousins, they're in the game. They're in the game, and you know Kirk Cousins got an arm, and he likes young receivers. He gonna throw it, but I think that a veteran quarterback is the answer, Craig. So I agree with you, but I think a Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins is probably your best bet. You're drafting at the bottom of the first, man. So I think you go all in for Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not like you're the Patriots. The Patriots could be like, man, we got the third pick. You know what I'm saying? Like the Pittsburgh roster's so good, you know. They need a quarterback. They wasted one on Kenny Pickett, and we all knew it was too high of a pick. We were like, Kenny Pickett is high. We all three said it. It wasn't no secret. Everybody knew. It was like, you getting them at 20? It's a little high. But, you know, he'll have another year. All right, so I don't know if this is true or not, because I'm getting mixed reports about Jason Kelsey. So he says he's not retired yet. It was the emotion. I don't know if he does it, but I think he's going to retire. I think he's just going to want to do it his way. But the Eagles look pretty bad on Monday night. Craig, do you fire Nick Sirianni?
Yeah.
I want to hear this one because what?
Yeah, I think so.
Woo!
Yeah, I think it's.
Moes rubbing off on you, Craig.
I think so. I mean, I didn't think McCarthy deserved it, but then after the way it's just the way that they showed up, and it's not even the way that they showed up on Monday. It was pretty much a culmination of the last 7 games where they lost 6 of the last 7. You start out 10-1, everything looks good, and then all of a sudden your team just loses. Your team miraculously loses 6 of the last 7 games, and I mean they lost to the Giants, the Cardinals, the Bucks. These are teams that I didn't think had a chance to beat the Eagles. At least looking at this, if you look at the schedule earlier on the season, the regular season games, the Giants, Cardinals, and then you get to the playoffs, and then there's the Bucks. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that they would have lost, to me, any of those games, and then they ended up losing them all. So, and they also lost 3 more on top of that. So, I just think that and with the owner and how he does, like he fired Peterson after the Super Bowl, like what, a year or 2 after the Super Bowl, 2 years, I think. He got rid of
Andy Reid.
Well, he let Andy Reid stay there for a while. He gave him a long leash to me because, I mean, he went to 1 Super Bowl, but he went to like 4 straight NFC Championship games. But I mean,
remember they let him go right after I think he had like 1 bad year, maybe.
I mean,
2 bad years. They were like, gotta go.
He hasn't had a bad year. I mean, not Stefanski. What's his name?
Sirianni. Nick Sirianni.
Year. But I mean, I think it's time to just. I mean, he got rid of Peterson. Who else did he get rid of before that?
I could tell you.
Chip
Kelly?
Huh?
Was it Chip Kelly?
Yeah, Chip Kelly. That's who it was. He got rid of Chip
He got
Kelly.
rid of Peterson after winning the Super Bowl. He got rid of Peterson after win the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. He got rid of Peterson quickly, even though he won a championship. So I mean, it seems like it's his. I don't know if it's his nature lately or whatever it is. He doesn't have patience to ride some things out. And the way that this team ended the season, I just think they need to change the scenery. And you got Jalen Hurts. He wasn't really supportive. And like bringing the coach back, he just said he paraphrasing it, but
locker room. He ain't missing coach. Like asked the coach, he said
everybody in the locker room or whatever it is, said something like that. So
hold on, what did he say again?
So they asked him about the coach, and he said the locker room, something about the locker room. He didn't even mention the coach. Like, he didn't even mention his name or nothing. Like, he kind of gave a lukewarm answer, like, "Oh, the locker room good." Like,
yeah, something like So
like, he didn't really give a glowing support to the coach.
Yes, and that, I mean, unlike Dak Prescott, who was supportive of the coach, Jalen Hurts kind of wasn't. And I just think they might. I mean, and you know, they got rid of the coordinators and the former Patriots coordinator. He sucks. He's can't think of his name. He was the coach of the Lions.
Matt Patricia.
Oh my God, he's
Matt
terrible.
Patricia.
He should never coach again. He's horrible. That defense the defense was already bad enough, but it got way worse. In the season.
That was crazy.
Defense was horrible, man. And it's, I mean, I wouldn't have said that about the Eagles defense, because the defense is normally pretty good, but I think they need to get some of these veteran guys off the squad. And I mean, I wouldn't bring some of these guys back, unfortunately, because those guys are the guys that they have, especially on that D line and those that in that secondary. They're known names. So I mean,
yeah.
But at the same time, like, you had a chance to win the division, you had a chance for the number 1 seed, and then the way that they got beat in the first, I mean, to the Bucs of all teams, and how it wasn't even the fact that they got beat. It's once again like the Cowboys, it's how they got beat, and the team just is going in a downward trajectory at this point. So I think they need to get rid of them and bring somebody else in.
Wow, Craig, that's Mo rubbing off on you, brother. He is, man.
It's time. If they didn't end the season off the way that they did, they kind of started out bad and then they ended off good or whatever. But 6 or 7, man.
That's crazy. Mo, Eagles. Do you fire Nick Sirianni?
If you don't, let me say this: if you don't, you have to clear house. Something has to give. You can't stay packed after a meltdown like this. And it wasn't like they had super crazy injuries. I mean, yeah, AJ Brown didn't play in the game, but for the most part, you were intact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You brought in a Shaq Leonard. You brought in Leonard. You went out there. And, you traded for EB. You traded for another Bird from Tennessee. Like, nah, the tackle in that game, the effort was just terrible. And I mean, no diswill to Tampa Bay. They played hard, they played well, they're the better team that day, but it was awful. So I just think you got to make, if you don't fire them, you got to make some moves all the way around. Like O coordinator, D coordinator, you almost got to start over again. But then it lends the lens of, if you're going to start over again, that makes him a lamed up coach. He got 1 year to at least get back to the Super Bowl or NFC Championship game or something, or they're going to fire him. So it's like, you got to do something. You can't bring back this whole coaching staff. It's almost like the same Dallas situation. Cool. If you're going to bring back the coach, people got to go, because that was just terrible.
Yeah,
it's too much. I've never seen, probably in the last 20-something years, I've never seen a talented defense like that look that horrible. Where you're talking about all pros on that defense, dudes who made Pro Bowls, just look downright terrible, like they didn't know what was going on with the football. Like it really wasn't good.
It was crazy.
It really wasn't good.
They were letting quarterbacks get off too. That's crazy.
It really wasn't good. Like, you in back-to-back weeks, you had Tyrod Taylor and
Tommy DeVito.
Make you looking like all pros. Like, it was.
Yeah.
Like,
remember that whole Tommy DeVito ball against him, and everybody was like, Tommy DeVito.
Man,
that was against the Eagles. That's crazy.
You got Baker. Look, and shout out to Baker though. I tell people this though. What a lot of people don't realize is, and I think a lot of people put, when you're a number one pick, a lot of people put that pressure on you, don't understand about situations. And what a lot of people don't know is, Baker's had 8 different head coaches since he's been in this league. And he was drafted in the same draft as he was drafted in the same draft as Lamar.
And Josh Allen.
I think
that was at 5 quarterback.
He's had 8 different head coaches. So we could judge that man as much as we want to, but he hasn't been given a fair hand. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't like he's been given a gang full of talent and the best of coaching situation. He's still bombed out. He hasn't. You know, so now it's like he's making the best of his situation now. And it's like I root for a kid like that. I mean, I get it. His arrogance sometimes rub people the wrong way, but dude comes to play, man. He's a winner. He believes in himself. You know,
okay.
He had a great season, though. I'll give him that.
I'll give him that. He got a great season, and they're gonna sign him. I would if I was Tampa.
Right.
I would keep everybody together. But
going for Philly, I mean, if you're not going to fire him, you got to clear house across the board, though. You can't keep all them coordinators and coaches there. It's almost like a Chicago situation. You see, they kept Eberflus, but he fired everybody on that offensive staff. Like I'm talking about coordinator on down, everybody got fired. Quarterback coach, the wide receiver coach.
They fired everybody. Yeah,
like if you're going to keep him, it almost like you got to fire everybody.
I'm not a big proponent of firing, but like I think Nick might have lost the locker room a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I follow these guys from Philadelphia, Gilly and Wallow, $1 million worth of game. And before the playoff game, and it's nothing wrong with them. I love them. Gilly was just in the locker room, and I was like, I mean, maybe they were. I wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like Andy Reid's not doing that. That's an example. It was kind of just off to me. Why? It just seems a little. I wouldn't have done it. You know what I'm saying? And I love Gilly Wallow, but I don't know. I think that it's some names, it's some good head coaches. Doesn't Philly seem like a Belichick destination? Good young defensive line. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback. Good running game. Good. He got a good roster. It's on the Northeast. Interesting. Very, very interesting. You got Vrabel. So I wouldn't be surprised if, Nick Sirianni is no longer the head coach because Philly does move fast. And I think this would be the good time. If they want to move on with him, this would be a good time because there's so many good coaching candidates out there. If they think about it, if Philly's like, if they fired Nick Sirianni, Belichick would jump all over it, and Vrabel would too. Because you got Jalen Hurts. Listen, we know this. If you don't have a quarterback and you're a defensive-minded head coach, you're not going to survive. But if you're an offensive-minded head coach, you can have whatchamacallit. You can get Joe Flacco. Kiss the fancy got Joe Flacco playing well. He's an offensive-minded head coach. So I think if you're a defensive-minded head coach, Philadelphia is a good place. And another thing, isn't Nick Sirianni an offensive guy? The offense sputtered. That worries me. It worries me. It worries me when a coach speciality is in an area and that area is not good. Like Brandon Staley with the Chargers. He's a defensive-minded head coach. Your defense shouldn't be bottom of the league every year. That's a concern. You can say what you want about Tomlin. You can say what you want about Belichick. Andy Reid has the offense going. You know what I'm saying? Like that side of the ball. Look at Ken Stefanski. The offense was good despite all those injuries. So, look at Pittsburgh's defense. Look at Patriots' defense. You know what I'm saying? So that just worries me that Nick Sirianni is an offensive-minded head coach and the offense sputtered. And that locker room, if he's lost the locker room, you got to move on.
Especially in Philly, yeah, you got. But they made it. Louis Riddigan made a good point. Was that really? Mm-hmm. Was that really Stefanski's his call to change D coordinators? They was like maybe that was an ownership call to change ownership, to change coordinators like that in the middle of the season, and to send dude upstairs and say Matt Patricia is going to be the play caller downstairs, like, was that
That
really
was
his
the
call?
ownership.
Yeah, was that ownership call? That might be a reason why they keep him, because that was y'all call. That wasn't his. So it's like, if y'all made that call and it turned worse, how you gonna blame that on the coach when y'all made that call? When y'all forced the fan, that wasn't his call. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. That's a good perspective. All right. Is it time to press the panic button? And guess what, guys? We're going to do the NBA. And I have 3 teams that I think that are on the panic button. The first team is the Golden State Warriors. And it sucks because they got to blow everything up. And Steph Curry right now is in his prime, I think. He's in his prime. He's playing some of the best basketball of his career. Guess what? They need to keep him, but unfortunately it sucks because we kind of see Klay Thompson on the decline. Kuminga wants more time. You know, how good is development with the young guys? You know, so it's some tough decisions to be made. And I believe it's going to be made by Mike Dunleavy and then the owner's son. There's got to be some tough decisions. You know, it's going to be tough. I don't think Steph will ever ask for a trade, but we don't know. I don't think he will, but he might put pressure on the front office to win now. The second team, Phoenix Suns. Come on, man. I thought the Phoenix Suns would be better. I feel like it's one of those powerhouse teams, and I have very high expectations of going into the season. But with the NBA season, guys, it's not over yet. Hopefully, the teams that I mentioned can make a turnaround and start climbing up the ladder. And the last team is the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know what's going on. Darvin Ham is coaching assignments are crazy. He has people in there that's not scoring any points. I understand defense, but this NBA, you got to score. You're benching people left and right. You're taking away confidence. Are we going to make a trade? We don't know. We're not interested in Zach LaVine. I don't know what's going on. Rob Pelinka, fix it. Because that's crazy. Got the Lakers in the 10th. All the teams that I mentioned, guys, Golden State is in the 12th seed. The Lakers are in the 10th seed. And Phoenix is in the 8th seed. That's crazy. These teams have Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry on them. They should not be where they're at. But it might be a young man's league. Who knows? Craig, top 5?
This just because of this weekend, pretty much until the Super Bowl, I'm going to do my top 5 games from that week, or should I say the top 5 weekend wildcard weekend games. My top 5.
Okay.
So number 5, I'm trying to go quick here. Number 5 should be. It's probably because it's recent, and it's stuck in my head, I guess. So I went with Jacksonville and the Chargers from last year.
Oh, okay.
Down 27-7 at halftime. Trevor Lawrence throws 4 interceptions in the first half, and they were able to still come back and win that game in his first ever playoff game. That game to me was the game where I just said they should have just right after that game they should have fired Staley. And unfortunately for them, they didn't. And then we see what happened this year. The team is 12, and they're picking, I think, in the top 5. So,
yes,
it's a little too late for them to get rid of him. But in this game, I thought it was Trevor Lawrence's. I thought Trevor Lawrence's was coming out party was after this game, but then he loses 5 of the last 6 games in the regular season, and then they don't make the playoffs either. So what do I know? But I had that game at number 5. Number 4. Was from 2003, January 5th, 2003. This was the 49ers and the Giants game. This was the Giants were up 38-14, like late in the third quarter, and San Francisco came back and they took the lead. And I think this was the game Michael Strahan was pointing the TO and telling them the scoreboard. They came back. They had New York had a chance to win the game with a field goal. They botched the snap, and I think it was third down. So instead of the quarterback spiking the ball or the holder spiking the ball, and because they still had time left, and then kicking the field goal again on fourth down, he decides he wants to spin around and then throw the ball towards the end zone. And it happened to be a penalty on both teams, offsetting penalties, pass interference on the defense, and illegal man downfield. So the penalties offset. Time runs out, and the Giants lose the game 39-38.
That joint was crazy. That game was insane.
That
game was insane.
Number 3, I remember going out to eat for this game because every year in the playoffs is around my birthday time. So, so this was like a couple of days before, 10 days before. This is January 4th, 2014. The Colts and the Chiefs. I remember I was at Outback right down the street, matter of fact, coming from Bowie to Outback for this game. And I remember the Colts were down 38
Which
to 10
was that?
In Waldorf.
Oh, okay.
Colts were down 38 to 10 in the third quarter, and they ended up coming back and winning the game 45-44. This was what's his name?
Andrew Luck.
Dang. Andrew Luck's comeback in that game.
Crazy stuff was all coming off his beard.
I just remember going crazy in the Outback because of the comeback and how they won the game. I didn't care who won, but I just thought it was an exciting game. Number 2, I have this is from '99. This is San Francisco and Green Bay going back to when Steve Young was there, and then they had a young T.O. or younger T.O. I guess. This is when he caught the touchdown with 8 seconds left.
They were in San Francisco.
25-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I remember that.
T.O. was crying, and they ended up winning the game. They ended up moving on. They won 30-27. And number 1 is, I know I missed the Motown Miracle or whatever it was called with the
Tennessee and the Bills, or Tennessee and somebody want to go back.
Yeah, I missed the music scene.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
I forgot about that one, but I did.
Frank Wright threw it across his black. He threw it perfect.
Music City Miracle, that's what it was called. But I did put this game from '93, which is the Bills and the Oilers, where the Bills 35-3. They were down 28-3 at halftime. 35-3 is the largest comeback in NFL playoff history.
Yes,
the largest comeback in NFL history until the Vikings came back on the Colts last year, down 33-0. So in this game, the Bills ended up winning 41-38.
Yes, quarterback was Frank Wright. I remember that game like yesterday.
Yep, and it was down 32.
It was a bomb game
in the second half. People probably thought it was over at that time, but especially in the league where there was where passing wasn't as prevalent as it is today. And then going with Frank Reich, who took over for Jim Kelly
got hurt.
So you're doing it with a backup versus doing it with the starter. So I had to go back and look at the highlights of that one because that was like that. It's not like some of these other recent ones, but
that's when the Oilers had Warren Moon.
Yeah, that was
I remember, man. I remembered I was watching it, and my dad was like, "Oh man, this game is over." And I was the only one. I kept watching it for some. That was what 93. I was young, so I was like, I'm about to just watch football. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to watch it. And next thing you know, they scored. Then they scored again, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Dad, it's getting close. They're down by 10. He was like, what? Like, and that's a bomb. That's a bomb play. That's one of the games I'm never going to forget because everybody in my house left. I was just by myself watching the game because it was just like, and it's funny. I probably nowadays, nowadays when I fit my dad to be like, this is over.
Yeah.
But now I'll always keep it. When it would have started getting close, I would have came back and watched it. But I don't know, man. That Colts and Viking game was, but nothing holds a nothing. That was an old school football game too. That's when they were like hitting crazy back then.
Yeah,
They were hitting crazy in the 90s, man.
yeah. Days.
And those are the days, and I get it. And we're gonna go on to who you got after this, but I'll never forget. I'll look on this Instagram clip, and Ben Roethlisberger was talking to Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin is like, "Do you realize?" He's like, "What's your bet? What's the best defense you coached?" He was like, "That 2010 defense is." He said after that 2010 season, that's when the player initiative started because they injured quarterbacks. Ray Lewis said the same thing. Shannon Sharp said it when he played for the Ravens. He was like, "Man, Ray Lewis and their job was to just take out quarterbacks and running backs." I was like, "Good God, you know, this is how they were talking." Like, yo, we hitting out here. You know what I'm saying? You got I think the quarterbacks back then had to be tough, man, because they were getting hit. You know what I'm saying? The John Elways, the Joe Montana, the Jim Kellys. You know, I rap about Troy Aikman, but Troy Aikman took advantage of his opportunity. He was, you know, Brett Favre, but these quarterbacks were getting hit, though. But anyway, that's awesome. That is awesome, yo. That's some good memories, man. Hey, and didn't Jerry Rice play on that team with T.O. in 1999?
Maybe. I would assume so, yeah.
I don't think he was with the Raiders yet. That was that the year before he went to the Raiders?
I might have been a year before he went to the Raiders.
When he went to the Raiders, that's when his headline started going back. And that was the year they went to the Super Bowl with Tim Brown.
Yeah,
they was blown out by Tampa.
They lost to Tampa Bay.
He was still playing there.
He might have still been on that team.
He's still on the team. He didn't go until 2001.
Yeah.
Oakland.
Yeah, that joint was crazy, Mo. He played good that year too. Him and Tim Rich Gannon with MVP.
Yeah, him and
Gannon with MVP, right?
Yeah, Rich Gannon won MVP that year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's what the debate everybody's saying now with Purdy. Like, you ain't gotta be elite. You ain't gotta necessarily be an elite quarterback to win MVP. It's about that year, that season. Like,
I think
nobody really called Rich Gannon an elite quarterback, but you the baller that season, you to do that season.
I said what I said at San Francisco. They're in a good position, man. They can have that. They can have that team for 2 more years, maybe 3 more years. Because like Craig says, Purdy gonna sign a contract. You know how it works. Like they push it for the quarterbacks, push some into the signing bonus, and then their salary be like $1 million, $2 million, and then it kicks in. So I could definitely see that for Purdy. I can see San Francisco win the Super Bowl next 3 years. Good. But we're gonna get to speaking of that, we're gonna get to my favorite topic and favorite segment. Who you got? And this is the playoff edition. Let's go. Now the only problem is, guys, it's getting low on games. But the games are getting better because I feel like everybody should be here. Well, maybe except for one team, but most of them, most of the teams, they did their thing. They did their thing. I think the only upset was the Packers. Packers and Cowboys, right?
I think the Eagles might have been favored, but I could be wrong.
Oh, you're right. The Eagles might have been. It might have been. But as far as seed,
I think
1, 2, 3, 4 for the AFC.
I also think,
and then for the NFC is 1, 3, and 4.
Let me see.
So it's really no upsets.
Now,
the Packers.
Cleveland was the favorite too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going by favorites, yeah, that's true. All right, Mo, we're gonna start off with you. Texans versus the Ravens. Who you got?
All right. Coaching. Oh boy. Coaching, I'm gonna go to Big Rams. I mean, I understand number one seed, I get it, but the job he's done, just getting that roster, and what a lot of people don't realize is they drafted, drafted number one overall, then he drafted number two overall. But when I watched that game, another dude that people don't realize,
2 and 3.
Yeah.
2 and 3 is drafted.
Oh, 2 and 3, my bad. 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But another dude people don't realize has gotten better, that was drafted in the top 5, is Stingley, the corner from Texans. He's gotten drastically better.
Yeah. He was actually playing really good this year. Yeah.
Their linebackers is balling. You see a belief in that team. O-line, Ermi Tunzel. You got the running game going. Like it's a belief in that organization that's unreal. And that's no shout out to Harbaugh. Like I get it, but I feel like for what D'Amico Ryans has done in this short period of time in 1 year to win 10 games, to win a playoff game, to have this team like it they're doing, I'm gonna go with him. Offensively, I'm still gonna go to Ravens. I just feel like overall weapons, overall talent. At the end of the day, James, you tell me this all the time. When you make picks, it goes. You make your picks on the quarterback. So I love Stroud, but if we're gonna compare Stroud to Lamar, that's the difference maker for me. Odell's playing at a high level. The one that's really gotten to a new level is likely the tight end. Out of Coastal Carolina, he's in I think his 3rd year. He's really playing at a high level right now. In that offense.
Yeah, he's balling. He's balling.
Defensively, I'm gonna take the Ravens. I understand what the Texans did to did to Cleveland, but man, that defense is just balling. I think Clowney got a career high 9.5 sacks. Hamilton made All Pro.
Remember, I told you we need to draft him, didn't I? Remember, I told you that
he made All Pro. Corners elite. They're elite at all levels. We've questioned him. I think on the show too, and he's gotten better. Patrick Queen, he's improved. I think Roquan Smith around him has made him better. That linebacker core is legit. So shout out to them and pick the Ravens. I still think this is gonna be a close game because I just want to see the Ravens overcome those demons of 2019, and sometimes getting that rest, you come out flat. You're facing a team that has nothing to lose. But I am going to go Ravens, and I'm going to go Ravens 27-20.
Ooh, all right. Craig, Texans versus the Ravens. Who you got?
For the coach is close. I think Harbaugh is the better coach, but I think I'm gonna go with Ryan just because of the job that he's done this year and taking a team that was, like Moes said, picking second in the draft and having one of the worst records last year to turning that around. Excuse me, and winning 10 games and overcoming the Jaguars and then winning the tough game on the road in the season against the Colts to get into the playoffs. And then you ended up winning the playoff game. And I can't take that away from what they've done this year. And hats off to the Ravens. Obviously, they got the number 1 overall seed, but I just think the Texans nowhere near the playoffs this year. So I got to go with the Texans. All right, I got to go with Ryan's for the coach. Offense. It's to me, it's closer than I think I was giving it any type of thought early in the season, like just looking back on it. But I think I'm gonna go with Houston. I think I'm gonna go with Houston's offense right now. I think their offense is playing. I mean, even without Tank Dell, I think the offense is playing phenomenal at this point in the season. They didn't need Stroud to go out there and do too much last week. They still put up 1. So it wasn't it's not, and they put up 45 points, but just looking at the scoreboard, I would have thought that he had, I don't know, 30 plus pass attempts and like 300 plus yards or whatever it is. But he ended up with 274 and 3 touchdowns on 16 to 21. So I think their running game is starting to figure it out with Singletary as the starter. Nico Collins has stepped into that number 1 role. I think Dalton Schultz has played pretty well down the stretch, or at least throughout the whole season. Trying to figure out who that number 2 receiver is going to be. I think they got a couple guys, Michi, and they got Robert Woods, and they also have Hutchinson. So it's just trying to figure it out. I think that the Ravens, obviously, they have the better quarterback, MVP quarterback. They just picked up Dalvin Cook, who's going to be available for this game, and I think they have. Besides Zay Flowers, they have nobody else that has over 50 catches this year. So, the names are there with Odell, and then you got Bateman. Bateman has been a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie to you. He hasn't done nothing since he's been there. I thought he was going to be a difference maker, especially after Marquise Brown left. I thought he was going to step into that number 1 role and ascend, but he hasn't done that at all. He's taken a backseat to both Odell, who's 30 plus, and to Zay Flowers, who's a rookie. So it's disappointing for me to see that from him. But I'm going with the Texans offense slightly. Defense, I'm going with the Ravens. Ravens, have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think if everybody's healthy, which they haven't been in years, which they finally are this year, it seems like, or at least more healthy than they have been. I definitely would take their defense, especially at home. They just been on another level this year compared to years past because everybody's healthy. This game they played each other week 1. It was 25-9. CJ Stroud wasn't the CJ Stroud that we see now, or that we've seen now the last 17 weeks, including the playoffs, compared to that first week. So I think the Ravens are going to get a different Texans team. I think if they had played, I think the Ravens played this Texas team in like week 10 or something like that. I think they would have got a better effort out of the Texans than they saw in that first game of the season. And then since that game, the Texans have kind of turned it around. But the Ravens, I want to know how much rust they're going to have. Like, if they come out, are they going to come out firing, or are they going to come out like as a cohesive unit, or is there going to be some type of but is there going to be some type of rust there because they've been off for the last 2 weeks, basically. I think the Ravens are going to start out a little bit slow, but I think they'll be able to pick it up and they'll put it together and they'll end up winning the game. I'm going 29-23.
All right. Texans versus Ravens. Listen, I love what DeMeco Ryan has done in the coaching space. I love that he came in there, turned it around, and won the division. They got the 4th seed. He has those young guys playing good. First ever quarterback and combo to do that, to play well. But I'm going John Harbaugh, man. This is the second time the Ravens got the number 1 seed, and they are playing to their strengths. And last time, every time they win the Super Bowl, they have a really, 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 really good defense. And they got home field. And I think he's going to have them ready to go. I think he's going to have them. I think he's one of the best coaches we've seen in a long time. They got the number 1 seed for a reason, and I think he's going to deliver it. I think he's going to deliver it. Offense, I love CJ Stroud, Craig. You know that was we talked a lot about him. Ben liked him, even though people were like, "Oh, he wasn't gonna be good. I was like, man, he keeps getting compared to Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is good, which means he could be better. So yes, draft him, Houston. Don't listen to everybody. Listen to what the scouts are constantly saying. You know, so I love CJ Stroud. He's playing phenomenal, like phenomenal. And you know what's so funny? No, I'm gonna say it later. No, I'm gonna say it right now. Do you know CJ Stroud and Jordan Love had just about the exact same stats in each playoff game?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy, yo. Anyway, you know I'm a big Jordan Love fan, but I gotta go with the Ravens. I think the running offense, the way Lamar ended the season, how competitive he was. First, he's gonna be the unanimous MVP. Everybody's already saying it. I don't know anybody that doesn't have him as the MVP. That's the second unanimous. Yeah, you're talking about Hall of Fame status at this point. I don't, not a lot of people got two MVPs in the sport. That's he's 26. So even if he plays another 5 or 6 years, that's gonna, he's building a really good resume. And I think I say a likely stepped right in for Mark Andrews. I like the way Zay Flower is, and this is Odell Beckham's time, and I think he's going to thrive in the playoffs. I think Odell Beckham is going to thrive in the playoffs and be the number one receiver they signed him to be, and you're going to see it in this game. Defense, I like the Texans' defense. I like the way they are, how they move, but you're not beating the Ravens' defense. They're good on each. They're elite on each level. They got Patrick Creed and Warcon Smith playing crazy. Jadeveon Clowney, they're going to bring pressure. They're going to get their hands up in your face. They're going to hit you, and that's the only thing that worries me about Houston is that if they double Nico Collins, that heat coming. And they have the ability to do that. They got a weapon back there, Kyle Hamilton, who's everywhere. He's blitzing. He's checked. If they double and he takes Schultz out the game, they're gonna feel that wide receiver depth. They're gonna feel it. And I love Houston. I think that the Ravens are on a mission. And I don't think it's going to be a 25-9 game, but I think it's going to be kind of like the Buffalo game. It's going to be 31-17. It'll be over. The Ravens will dominate. All right, Craig. Some say this is the game of the week. I might tend to agree. You got Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen in the playoffs again. Chiefs versus Bills. Who you got?
Okay, so Coach, I think I'm gonna go with McDermott just because I think Andy Reid has done a great job for the talent I guess that's on his team. Mm-hmm. But at one point McDermott's team Mo had him on the hot seat. I think some other people probably had him on the hot seat.
A lot of people did. Yeah.
And he was 6-6, and they ended up winning the last 4 games. Not only that, they ended up winning the number 2 seed and the AFC East. So, in a game where
I think it's the 4th straight year too, Craig. They won it.
Yeah, it was winner take all in terms of winning the AFC East. They went out on the road and they won the game. So I gotta give it to McDermott. No slight against Andy Reid because Andy Reid is arguably the best coach in the league right now. But McDermott, including I think I started to doubt the team, and I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs, especially at 6-6, because I thought other teams were going to step up. But I got to go with McDermott there. Offense, I'm going with the Bills. I think the Bills offense hasn't been lighten it up since they changed OCs or anything like that. Stephon Diggs still hasn't had a 100-yard game since like October.
That's crazy. That's crazy stuff.
He's been struggling.
He's been quiet about it too.
But at the same time, the offense has been more run-oriented, and they've been using Cook a little bit more. Obviously, Allen's he's a part of the running game as well. He had a crazy run against Pittsburgh on Monday.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So they're starting to add the run a little bit more. Josh Allen still, like, he doesn't have to do everything by himself, and he's able to try to put some of that on the running game. Kincaid has stepped in to be that number one tight end that I think a lot of people, including myself, expected for him to be. Their second or third wide receiver, Shadid or something like that. I can't remember his name, but he had a big game. I think Gabe Davis was kind of banged up, so he stepped in. And if they can get Gabe Davis back and have him healthy, I think that's only going to help that offense. The Chiefs, I still see some drops. I seen Kelsey had a drop. It's just still some drops out there. And also, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, he can't catch the ball as well. He can't throw it and catch it. So I'm still kind of hesitant to pick some of these receivers because of the mistakes that they've made and the drops and not able to get separation and things like that. I know they have some guys on the team that have that veteran presence, Hardman and MBS and all that, and that's, and Kelsey obviously, but that's fine. But I mean, that offense just hasn't been clicking all season, and I know they had a big game against the Dolphins, and that's fine. But that was a home game. This is going to be a road game for them. First time Patrick Mahomes played on the road in the playoffs outside of that Super Bowl game against Tampa Bay, which was in Tampa. So the defense, I'm going with the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense is, what they did to that Dolphins number one overall offense, they shut that team down to just 7 points. I don't know. That this is the best defense Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had since he's been there, and it's unfortunate that it comes at the expense of his offense. But that Chiefs defense is legit, and as great as the Bills defense is, they still had opportunities to lose that game to Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, despite having a takeaway in the red zone or not really forcing. I guess he kind of did it on his own. Pickens to fumble the ball in their territory, but they were able to overcome it and win by 14. I know people are saying like this is the biggest game for Josh Allen. I don't think it is. I think because they went to the AFC Championship game 3 years ago, so I'll say that's the biggest game of his career. But I think this is right up there, especially when you're playing Mahomes again. He's 3-3 against Patrick. He's 0-2 against him in the playoffs. So, and he's finally got him in his stadium, in his home stadium. So, obviously, the pressure's on to win this game. Going back and forth on this one. I think I want to pick Patrick Mahomes, and I hope that they win because I'm so sick of hearing about Josh Allen and all this stuff. But I am going with the Bills. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game like a couple years ago in that
13 seconds.
In that divisional round, with 13 seconds and all that. But I do think it's going to be a really good game. I hope that there's no Kadarius Toney foot offside thing because they could have won that. If they had won that game, then this whole, you wouldn't even be having this conversation because I think they probably would have been like the 7th seed or something like that, or maybe not even.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm not sure.
I think you're.
So.
Wow. You might be right because Miami might have been the 2. Yeah, because Miami won 11 games. Yeah.
Well, no, the Chiefs would have been the 2 at that point because the Chiefs would have been 12.
The Chiefs would have been the 2 because they would have beat. Yeah, so the Chiefs would have been number 2 seed.
If what?
If the Chiefs beat the Bills,
they didn't have that Kadarius.
Oh, the tiebreaker. Okay,
offside thing.
Yeah, it was. So I think you're right. I think it would be because the Chiefs beat Miami, so it'd be the Ravens, the Chiefs.
Plus, the Chiefs already had the tiebreaker over them anyway because they beat them in
Yep.
Germany or wherever they played.
Yep.
So,
You're right.
I think I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'm going Bills 24-20.
Oh, this is a tough pick. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Mo, Chiefs versus Bills. Who you got? This is tough.
Coaching. I'm gonna go McDermott. I mean, 6-6. A lot of people thought this team wasn't gonna make the playoffs, and for them to do what they did, winning the last 5, I think it was, is amazing.
6. 7 out of 8, 6 in a row.
Yeah, because they were 6-6. So 5 wins, 5 wins straight for in the season, and then the playoff wins, so they won 6 straight. That's just an amazing thing to me. Just how they were looking, a lot of people doubted them, and it was tough for him to make that coaching change at the all coordinator spot, but he had to make it, and look what it's done. So, kudos for that situation. A lot of people hold on and say, "Oh, we just gonna turn around," but they had to do something. So, I really love what I saw there. So I'm gonna go coaching. I'm gonna go Sean McDermott, even though Andy Reid shouted to him 8 straight division titles. This year, if he makes the AFC Championship game, it'll be 6 straight seasons. He's done it 5 straight with 2 different organizations. That's unheard of. He's taken 2 organizations to 5 straight conference championship games. I don't think that's gonna be done again. So I'm gonna go offensively. Oh boy, it's a tough one for me. Offensively,
it's tough.
Yeah, offensively,
it's tough.
Offensively, I'm only going with. I don't know. That's a tough thing. Offense, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with the Bills. And I'm going with the Bills because Josh Allen's running ability. I think that adds a different dimension to it. One thing I like that I think Kansas City's really wanting to worry about, and it's going to be interesting to see how they scheme with this, is being able to adjust their 2 tight ends and deal with the wide receivers. Because you got Kincaid, the rookie, who broke the Bills' record for catches. I think he had 75 catches in the regular season, and he got Knox. So they got 2 tight ends on that game that can threaten the field. And then you got the other dude that's showing up that y'all just mentioned. You got Diggs. I'm hoping, I don't know yet if it's confirmed. I don't know if Gabe Davis will be healthy for this game. I know he missed the first playoff game. I don't know if he's playing this one.
It's his knee injury. He's not practicing.
Right. And I don't know if I trust Kansas City wide receivers. And I think Buffalo has the team overall depth to challenge them, to say, okay, we'll let Kelsey get his, but he's not gonna beat us. He's not gonna be the sole reason you're gonna win. And I'm just interested to see if they're gonna be able to run the ball on the Bills with Pacheco enough where you got Ed Oliver inside and the other people inside. I think it's gonna be a challenge. Defensively, I'm gonna go Kansas City. What they've done this year defensively, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have the 2nd or 3rd youngest defense in the league outside of Chris Jones. I think everybody else is like 1st, 2nd, or 3rd year pros. Even one of their
Tyreek Hill trade.
One of their corners who's only a 3rd year pro out of Washington, McDuffie, made All Pro this year. So they've done a heck of a job drafting and bringing in players. So I'm gonna go with them defensively. Listen, I think it's Josh Allen's time, man. I just think you finally got Mahomes on the road. This is gonna be his first road playoff game of his career. He's never played on the road, which is crazy and amazing. But 6 years, every year you make the playoff almost, and you'll never play a road playoff game outside the Super Bowl, which is a neutral site. So I just think Buffalo's going to get him, man. I think Buffalo on the last second field goal. I'm gonna go Buffalo in a classic 24-21.
Oh man! All right, Chiefs versus Bills. Coaching, I love Andy Reid, and like Mo said, he wins a lot. he wins a lot in the NFL. Some say if he wins this year, they win it all this year. I don't know. You think he steps away? That becomes a real attractive job. But that's neither here or there. Coaching, I gotta go with McDermott just because, like y'all said, they won 7 out of 8. They were 6-6. And remember this, Mo, Leslie Frazier left at the beginning of the year, so he had no defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And he fired his offensive coordinator. They were reeling. They were 6-6. All this stuff is coming out in Buffalo. The locker room is not really on your side, because a report came out and, like, how will we know that you did a speech compared to 9/11? That's the players talking, which means you're losing the locker room, and he's great. He won 6 games in a row. They got the number 2 seed. They've won the division 4 years in a row. I still think he's a good coach, man. You really can't say anything about him, unless they're trying to get over that hump. And this is the game that he's gonna have to get over this hump. Offense is interesting. The better quarterback, everybody knows this, is Patrick Mahomes. But right now, I think I'm going to have to do the Bills because of Josh Allen's running ability. And they're running that 2 tight end set like a mug. And James Cook is balling. He's balling. And they're running the ball more. And they're playing at home. And the Bills been balling at home. Josh Allen's been Superman. Defense, I'm going with the Chiefs. This is easy. Easy pick. Going with the Chiefs for the defense. They got the 3rd best defense overall, I believe. They're young. They're hitting hard. I mean, they're a beast. They're a beast. Kansas City is a beast. This game is going to be one for the ages. I'm not gonna lie. This is a big game for Buffalo. Listen, Patrick Mahomes loses. The receivers sucked. They'll be back next year. Patrick Mahomes lost a playoff game on the road. Nobody's really going to get – people going to talk about it, but it's going to be like he just won a Super Bowl last year. It's not going to be a thing, right? They know what they're going to have to fix on the offensive side of the ball. But if Buffalo loses again to the Chiefs, that's a tough loss. That's tough because y'all can't beat the Chiefs. And then say the Chiefs lose to the Ravens. Say the Ravens win the Super Bowl and Buffalo couldn't even get out of the divisional round. So this game is big. And if the Chiefs get up early, Buffalo's going to get tight. That stadium's going to get tight and quiet. And I've seen Buffalo play this year. They don't like playing tight. But, this game is going to be one for the ages. I gotta go with the Chiefs, man. The Bills remind me of the Cowboys. Josh Allen's going to do a dumb turnover. Diggs is going to ask for a trade in the offseason. And, I don't know, man. It's the Bills. I could be wrong, but I'm picking the Chiefs to win this 20-17. It's going to be a low-scoring, cold, defensive hit you in the mouth type of game. It is. Packers versus the 49ers. Coach, I got Matt LaFleur. I think what he's done with that team, how he's listen. I don't know what's going on in Green Bay, but they got a model for picking quarterbacks. Like they let their quarterbacks sit for 3 years, man. Well, Jordan Love sat for 3 years.
Something like that.
I know these two. I know that definitely two.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers sat 3 years. So, Matt LaFleur is just a good head coach, man. So And listen, Shanahan is the model you want. Somebody off the staff is probably going to get hired as a head coach. They run a well-oiled machine. But for me, I'm going with Matt LaFleur and what he's done as a head coach in general. Offense, I love the Packers offense. The Packers offense is kind of like Houston. They've been balling recently. Balling. But I got to go 49ers. You got they cover all the bases. Purdy has been playing phenomenal this year. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Trent Williams. You got Deebo Samuel. You got Brandon Ayuk. Do you guys know Brandon Ayuk went over 1,000 yards quietly? We got like 1,300 receiving yards, and then you got George Kittle, who had the most. He was the best tight end in the NFL this year. So the 49ers offense is loaded. Defense, 49ers. The Packers defense sucked. I don't know what the Cowboys were doing. I don't know why they didn't take advantage of it. We've already talked about them. I'm not talking about them until the next year. Well, I'll be picking them to go 12-5 and losing in the first round again. But I got the 49ers defense. Once again, Bosa, Young, Fred Warner, Ward. I mean, come on, man. This is just they're just built for it. And listen, I know the Ravens and the 49ers rest, and you got these rookie quarterbacks that are coming in hot, and they beat Cleveland and one beat Dallas, and yeah, this is going to be real because now they're going up against the two best defenses in the NFL, and when you get to this level, you need a good defense. You got to have a good defense. You have to. So I got the 49ers winning 31-20. But it's gonna feel like a blowout. Craig, 49ers, Packers versus 49ers, who you got?
Coach, I think I'll go with Matt LaFleur. I obviously, this is kind of the same thing as the Ravens, Texans. I think that Shanahan is a better coach, but the job that LaFleur has done this year with the youngest or one of the youngest teams in the NFL, and how they went on the road and just demolished the Cowboys. But I don't think a lot of people gave them a chance. I don't think nobody here picked them. I could be wrong. And then the way that it wasn't even the fact that they beat them, it's how they beat them, how they were just dominant over them. They lost Christian Watson early or about midway through the season. Had some running back issues there with guys being hurt. And then you also had Dillon out this past week. So 49ers and McVay, I mean, not McVay, but Shanahan, they have the better team, and he's the better coach. But the job LaFleur has done has been phenomenal. Offense, I'm going with the 49ers. Jordan Love has had a great season. Like he's had 30 touchdowns at one. I mean, I think he hasn't thrown a pick in like a month and some change at this point.
Yeah, he's been balling.
Or at least he has one pick or something like that. But he's just been out of control with the way he's been playing. And I think a lot of people were doubting him midway through the season at one point when they lost a couple games, like to the Falcons, and I think they lost to I don't know who they lost to, but they lost some games that they probably shouldn't have lost, and people were starting to doubt if he's the quarterback. And he had, he started a little bit more picks, and then somewhere around like November-ish, he started to pick it up, and now he's on a roll. So he's playing phenomenal, especially like I said without Christian Watson, but he's able to get some of these other guys involved that are on the team that you probably wouldn't even think of being like guys that you would have as a number two or maybe even like a number three. So he's been able to get some of these guys. I think Wicks and Dobbs, or Duke, how you say his last name. Jalen Reed's been playing well.
I think it's Dobbs.
Yeah, those guys have been playing well, like really, really well. Musgrave. But I mean, Brock Purdy's an MVP candidate. Christian McCaffrey's an MVP candidate. Brandon Ayuk played. I mean, he's like the number one wide receiver on that team, even though they still have Debo. At least he played like it anyway. Kittle was still on that team. The offensive line is really good with Trent Williams. So I got to go with that 49ers offense. Defense, I got to go with the 49ers again. The Packers defense wasn't supposed to play that well or play that
crazy
in that game against the Cowboys. I think a lot of people, it wasn't even Jordan Love playing his first playoff game. It was going to be the reason why they lost. It was because that Cowboys offense was so good, but also the Packers defense was so mid or bad and kind of in that area. But they played excellent. But you got to give it up to them. But I mean, the 49ers defense, I mean, it's just crazy good. When they want to just put the clamps on you and just beat you down, that's what they're going to do. And I think it's that time because it's playoffs. I think the Packers definitely overachieved last week, and rightfully so. I mean, a lot of people giving them credit, but I think this is just a different animal in the 49ers versus the Cowboys. So I got to go with the 49ers here, man. I think I think the rest is probably still going to be there probably for this team as well, maybe early on, or maybe they punt on the first couple of drives or whatever it is, but they might even be down like 7-0 or 3-0. But that's just when I think Brock Purdy's going to step up, and a lot of people say he can't handle the pressure when if you get him down, he's not going to be able to do anything or see what he does. So I think they might even be down this game, but I think they're going to come back and win the game. I got them winning 33-19.
Mo, Packers versus 49ers, who you got?
Coaching, I'm gonna go Matt LaFleur. I gotta go Matt LaFleur. I just feel like the job he's done, youngest roster in the league, injuries, and still he's gotten the best out of his players. A lot of people question Jordan Love going into the season, but he stuck to his game plan, stuck to his offense. He's even, kind of stuck to himself, but still tailored it around Jordan Love's ability as a quarterback. The defense is playing well. A lot of those people they drafted, and a lot of players they brought in and have made, to be the best they could be. So I'm gonna go to Packers. I'm gonna go LaFleur for us coaching. Offensively, you gotta go Green Bay. My bad. You gotta go San Fran. Purdy, McCaffrey. You got Ayuk. You got Kittle, who's taking the back seat some ways. As far as but still will block and go out there and do what he gotta do. It's just up front, their offensive line is dominant. I think with the rest, them getting the rest they've gotten, I think is going to be something for them. So I think it's definitely going to be something to watch. I think they're going to come out, full freight, ready to go. Defensively, San Fran again. Fred Warner, you got Bosa, you got Chase Young. Just up front, their way they can rotate bodies. I think that rest, I think they're going to be all go. I think it's going to be a dominant performance. I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay comes out kind of strong, just pride-wise, but I think it's just going to be too much talent-wise and too much for them, that energy in San Francisco. I got it being I'm going to go in a game that's going to look closer than it is. It's going to look bad. It's going to look the way it is. I'm going to go 34. I'm going to go 34-14 San Francisco.
All right, Mo. Bucks versus Lions. Who you got?
Coaching. Because it's a sorry division, but winning division 3 straight years is still winning division 3 straight years. But I'm still gonna go Dan Campbell. Just to turn around and done that front office with the players they brought in. I think I saw something the other day or this morning that showed each year what they brought in since Dan Campbell's been there as far as drafting, and this has been ridiculous. They brought in players who are playing, not just sitting there on the sideline. They're people who are productive on that roster.
They're drafted really well.
So I'm gonna go with them offensively. Offensively, I'm gonna go Lions. I think when you add in Amar St. Brown, who should have been a Pro Bowler. I mean, you made All Pro, but you didn't make the Pro Bowl. But you know how that go. You add in Gibbs, Montgomery, the rookie tight end, I forgot his name, is Sam Laporta or something
Sam
like that.
Laporta.
Yeah, like it's just a well-oiled machine offensively. Jared Goff, I think, is motivated. He knows this is his time to kind of prove the doubters wrong about him. Defensively, I'm going to go to the Lions strictly kind of because of Aiden Hudson. I feel like Tampa Bay doesn't have an Aiden Hudson up front, like that disruptor up front. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go them. I also on defense, the draft, you see up front what they've done. You see up front what they drafted, and then in the back end, you got Deion Branch, who's playing as a rookie, either rookie or second year player out of Alabama, who's balling out. So the defense is well played. I'm gonna go Detroit in this one. I think Tampa Bay is gonna put up a fight. But I think it might be like it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be double digits, but it's gonna look closer than what it is. I'm gonna go Detroit 31-21.
Bucks versus Lions. Who you got? Coach, I gotta go Dan Campbell, man. The Lions' first playoff win in so long. They won the division. They got the 3rd seed. Some think they should have been the 2nd seed, including people on this panel, myself. And Craig said it last week, so y'all know how we feel about that. But I think this team believes in Dan Campbell. I was just looking at the crazy thing is I was just looking at their depth chart. They get in. They trade for Jared Goff. They got David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon St. Brown, Sam Laporta. I think Frank Ragnow is a draft pick. Panay Sewell's a draft pick.
Yep.
Aiden Hutchinson's a draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Campbell.
Deion Branch.
Brian Branch. Hey, I know it's Deion Branch too. Yeah, Brian Branch. They've been doing really well, man. They've been drafting really well. I shout out to Dan Campbell. He came in there and he said he was going to do it. He has those players playing for him. Offense. I like the Bucs offense, but if I had to pick, I'm gonna lean towards the Lions a lot. I think Jared Goff's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. I love Mike Evans. Around St. Brown is nice, and then you got Sam Laporta, and then you got the 2 running backs, and they're gonna run the ball with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I gotta give it to Detroit. They have a better offensive team, even though I like Tampa's offense, but I'm going with the Lions offense. The defense is very interesting because if you're I believe if I'm going by the regular season, I feel like they were really close together. Yes, they were. So it's kind of a push with the defense, but I don't do pushes around here. I'm going to pick the Lions. I'm picking the Lions defense. I think the Lions have the edge. I agree with Mo. I think their draft picks are better. I think Brian Branch and I think Aiden Hutchinson makes a difference because the defenses are really close together. So instead of pushing, I'm going to agree with Mo. I'm going to give Aiden Hutchinson. Jacksonville, if you listened to us and drafted him, y'all might have made the playoffs. That's neither here nor there. I got to start tuning in the fourth quarter. We know what we're talking about here, guys. All right. So Lions, Bucks, Lions at home. I mean, the Lions win this, they could be in the NFC Championship game. That is huge. I think Craig, did you have them there? You
Yeah.
had them there, right? Yeah. So I think the Lions win this game. I just think they're dang, the only upset I'm going with is the Chiefs. But I think the Lions pull it out. I think the home field, the roster, and I think it's a close game, but I think it pulls away in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter, like the Lions win. I think it's 24-17. Craig, what's up? What you about to say, Mo?
Oh, now I'm about to say definitely bulletin board material out there. Gardner,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, Gardner, one of the corners from Detroit, put out there basically saying that the wide receiver room is great, but it'd be better if they had a quarterback. Like basically, like leaned on Baker, like they ain't got a quarterback. Like, but then Baker came back and was like, "Well, you must not be watching this too much because you mentioned Gage, and Gage ain't played all season. So you gonna mention the dude that ain't even played all season? You must not be watching this like that." So it's definitely bulletin board stuff out there.
Oh, very interesting. The back and forth. Craig, Bucks versus Lions. Who you got?
Coach, I am going with. I think I'm going with Dan Campbell. It's close because Todd Bowles has done a really good job this year with his getting the team to win that division, even though it was an easy division, arguably the easiest division in football at this point.
Yeah.
And all they needed to do was beat Carolina in the last game of the season. They beat them 9-0. But Dan Campbell's done a great job. Obviously, I think a lot of people predicted, as especially from what happened last season when they ended up beating the Packers the last game of the season, that the team was going to go upward and go for, especially with Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. It kind of really opened up the NFC North. But I just think he's done a great job. I thought they should have got the 2 seed. I thought they got screwed out of that game in Dallas. But I'm glad they didn't because now Dallas is out. So it all worked out. But I think both coaches have done a great job, especially both of them getting those wins in that wild card round. So it's close. I'm going with Dan Campbell. Offense, I'm going with the Lions. I think this is Baker's best season, I think. Or I don't even think it's close. I think he's surrounded by a lot of talent, obviously. They got a running back that can run and catch, and White. They got wide receivers Evans and Godwin that are really good. Evans just has a problem with drops, but he's very consistent. He's never had anything less than 1,000-yard season since he's been in the league. So
I like Evans.
He's a Hall of Famer. Good players. I mean, I think the Bucks were let down by some of their receivers, especially in that Eagles game with some of the drops. Cade Otton, how you say it, the tight end. He had some drops. Evans had some drops. There were some missed opportunities there. But overall, the team did. I mean, they put up 32 points. But the Lions have. I mean, if they can figure out who the number 2 wide receiver is, I guess it's going to be Williams or it could be Reynolds. Obviously, they got St. Brown and Laporta. You guys mentioned all these guys already. Gibbs and Montgomery are really good together in that backfield. And Jared Goff has been playing. He's been playing. He's had a really good season. I think he's had 30 touchdowns this year. He had some issues at one point with interceptions after not throwing one in I don't know how many pass attempts. He didn't have one at all, and then also they just started to snowball and the interception after interception. But he was able to keep it in check for a little bit, and then now he's had a great season. I think he's was he named to the Pro Bowl team or borderline Pro Bowl?
Let me see.
I don't know.
I was just looking at his contract.
I think both of these guys have had great turnaround seasons. But I'm going with the Lions though. Defense, the defense is close because of the way that the Bucks played last week. Kind of might have swayed me a little bit, but I think I'm going with the Lions. I think it's close. but I mean the defense played phenomenal against that Eagles team, but the Eagles team was kind of reeling anyway. But at the same time, that Rams team was coming on, and they kind of got stymied, I guess is the word, in that second half where they didn't really put up any points except for like a field goal. They had opportunities there. There were some missed calls that I thought they should have called on the Lions, but fortunately, finally they got something to go their way for once, and they were able to hold off the Rams in that game. But their defense in that second half was really good, even though they gave up a lot to Puka Nacua, excuse me, and gave up a lot to the Matt Stafford. They were able to keep Cooper Kupp in check and the run game in check a little bit, and able to win that game, only giving up 23. I think the Bucks overachieved, I think, so far this year. I didn't have them in the playoffs at all. Kind of like the Texans, I didn't have them in the playoffs either. But you got to give them credit for getting here, and they beat a reeling Eagles team. Now they got to go on the road and play a tough Detroit Lions team in their backyard. I think this is the time. Lions finally got a win for the first time since '91 in the playoffs. So I think they're going to make it 2 wins. I think they're going to go to the NFC Championship game and play the Eagles. I had them in the championship game early in the season against the Cowboys. Even if the Cowboys were here at this game, I would pick the Lions because I just think they got screwed, and I think they would have been more fired up in the game. So I'm going with the Lions here. I think it's going to be not high scoring, but I think it's going to be a pretty contested game. But I'm going 33-24.
Craig, his career in Detroit, he had his most completions this year. His percentage was the highest this year. He threw for the 3rd most yards in his career. He had 30 touchdowns. That's the 2nd most in his career. 12 interceptions is the 5th most or something. He balled out. His pass rating was 99. That's the 3rd highest, 4th highest. He balled out. And the crazy thing is his contract, he got 1 more year left. I wonder if they do his quarter. I wonder if he gets his contract done this offseason, especially if they go to the championship game.
You talking about Baker?
No, Jared Goff. I think the Bucks are going to re-sign Baker and Todd Bowles.
Not make the Pro Bowl.
But he did last year. Craig. But the Lions got a decision to make. I would re-sign him.
I don't think they got a choice. I think they have to bring him back.
I would re-sign him. I'll re-sign him. I like Jared Goff.
2-year run like that, and then you really the 2-year run like that, the talent you have, and this is your time right now because a lot of those pieces are signed for a minute. Like
this is your time that you could, especially if they mess around and get home field, you got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You do with this young roster. That's what happens when you draft well. You know what I'm saying? That happens when you draft well. So they're in a good position. They're in a good position, I don't think they got to sign Hutchinson for a while. Let me see. When is Penei Sewell? Penei Sewell's 2021, so he got like 3 years before you pay him. Man, you can go ahead and sign Goff and then keep all this young talent. And the NFC is wide open. It's wide open, to be honest with you. Especially the Cowboys bring back Mike McCarthy. So, you got a chance to, keep drafting well and build on your success. So, I definitely would bring Jared Goff back. I would lock him up this year. Push some of that money out. I will lock him up this year. And I'll sign St. Brown, push him back a year. I don't know what Aiden Hutchinson. When was he drafted? 2022. So he's good. He's good. So yeah, this is gonna be some good playoff games. So if there's no upsets, we got the Bills versus the Ravens. I think it's gonna be the Chiefs or the Bills versus the Ravens. And then it's gonna be Lions at San Francisco. Those are gonna be some very interesting games. Could you and listen, I'm gonna say this before we get off air. Could y'all imagine if Lamar wins a second unanimous MVP and he goes to win the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl MVP?
Oh yeah.
You gotta start talking. I mean, it might be him and Mahomes is the best quarterbacks of the decade.
Yeah.
That's it. If he pulls this off, if he wins the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP, he gotta be in that conversation. You know, we're gonna see though. We're gonna see. It's gonna be some great games this weekend. All right, guys, we will see y'all. We'll see y'all next Tuesday, the 23rd. Everybody, peace. Fourth quarter is out.